today, so I said, come on through. And so I know this may be daunting, Jim. This is a lot of new people in one call. And as we've just learned from Charborg, he will attack at the first sight of a threat. So
if I sense weakness or anything.
I'll pretend to be strong. I'll pretend to be strong for you. Don't worry.
Not too strong though, because I will also attack.
Yeah, then he's threatened.
Shit.
I'll be a happy medium.
Perfect. Yeah, a happy medium. Neither direction. I think you'll be fine.
Wait, why is Lisa's name pink?
Yeah, Lisa is a level 5 master. Lisa, you said you were a 3.
A master?
I thought so too.
I'm only a level 8 lackey.
Oh dear.
What? Yeah, and you're green. Maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna join.
I'm feeling comfortable now. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I mean, you can start it whenever. But... What's up, guys? We're playing a little bit of a. Wait, hold on.
Where does Sputterer compare to Master? I guess Master is probably bigger.
I don't know where the titles came from.
I don't know if I'm like just being like weird or anything, but is my voice transmitting in game?
No.
Not yet. Okay. Once we get in game, then we all meet up.
Okay. That was like my. If I was sitting there talking to you guys and it was like going to them, I was gonna freak the fuck out. Anyways, what's up, pimps? Yeah, how you guys doing? We're playing a little bit of Mage Arena with Charborg and Kraken and General Sam. Do you know that guy? Oh my god, he's so funny. He's gonna be there. Lisa's gonna be there. Percussion's gonna be there. Sput, Papa, and Mr. Man. I only know like half of these people, but I look like Abby's pregnant again. Do I naturally give off a glow when she's pregnant? Or is it because I usually get fatter when she's pregnant? I think you just called me fat. I think you did the most roundabout way of calling me fat. That makes me angry. You just pissed me off. When's the Peanut collab? Wait, do you mean Vilified Peanut or the Peanut guy that is like the annoying orange guy for Tarkov? That guy? The Tarkov one? I mean, I'll collab with either of them. I saw him streaming today. The Burnt Peanut. Burnt Peanut. I'd be willing to play games with him. I don't care. I would have to probably download Tarkov. I haven't played it in a couple of years, but did Joe Rogan die? He didn't die. What am I drinking? It's a Czech lager. Czech lager. And it tastes like shit. It's not great. Why did I stop playing Tarkov? Well, have you played it? You know how like when you're playing it, it kind of makes you upset. Imagine doing that for like 6 years. Like I started playing it in like 2018. Why the fuck would I keep playing it? Miller Lite enjoyer. Oh fuck, I'll drink Miller Lite, dude. I don't give a shit. I'll drink whatever. I don't really have a bias except for as long as it's not a what are those things called? An IPA? I mean, I'll drink an IPA if you're like all I have is an IPA, I'll still drink it, but I don't really have that much of a desire to go out of my way and drink one snobbishly. When's the next cooking video? Actually, I had a fucking insane idea for a cooking video that was I can't tell you now because then I don't want somebody to take it. But I could totally just do it. But I was hoping to get my brother. You know, I think the ones with Zach are really good, and he's unfortunately He's in a position right now where his life kind of sucks. He's got like a job, and his job is like working him to death. And so he works like 80-hour weeks. And he's like, dude, I can't even I don't even have time to hang out with my kids. So I don't think he's going to take what little time off he has to come puke in my basement. I think that's probably pretty low on his to-do list. Are we going to start this fucking thing? We're still like sitting here in the lobby like an asshole. I want out. I want to play wizard game. Sam, what's the deal with that little dent right above your eyebrow? I don't know. No idea. Oh yeah, I do have like a little, what the fuck? Got like a dent right there. I don't know. I think so. Thanks for that. Oh my god. Am I disfigured? Oh no, that's the one blemish on my perfect face. Fuck! Yeah, it's the new gamer dent on the front of the face. It's called a haymaker's dent. What is that? Is it from? I do have like a kind of like a pockmark that's from, what are those things called? Chicken pox. Are me and Aqua still friends? Yeah, I see Aqua. He played Peak with me. We don't play as much together anymore because he still spends a lot of his time on Tarkov, and I don't play Tarkov anymore. Sam, why do you look like Zorg from The Fifth Element? Shit, dude. Oh, I should get, dude, that'd be a good like cosplay. That'd be a good like Halloween outfit. Cause he has that one outfit where he has the it's like that pearlescent vest thing and then the pinstripe underneath it, and then he has the fucking high collar that goes up to here. I could be Fat Zorg. That's almost better than Fat Gambit. Fat Gambit was last year. Fat Zorg could be this year. That outfit is so insane though. Where the hell would I buy that? All right, this is like a full game. Let's see what's going on here.
He was a warlock the whole time.
With us? Ooh.
What do you choose if you're warlock or wizard? Oh, hey Sam.
So when we get in, you just click left or right.
Yeah,
the
when we yeah.
Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm ready.
I'm pretty freaking.
All right, we'll mute up when we get in, and all the rest of the audio comes from in the game. It's gonna be a lot.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna deafen. I'm ready. Dude, I'm ready. I'm gonna snipe fucking warlock the second we get in. Generating world. Boom. Warlock. Hey, can you guys hear me? Oh, I guess not. I just changed our team thing to a Wildberry Pop-Tart. Do a night fishing vlog? What the hell? Night fishing? I don't even go fishing, dude. I'm not gonna go fucking night fishing. You kidding me? Hold on. Let's see what the holdup is. Excuse me, what's the holdup?
Sorry, we're making our flag. I'll start it now.
What the hell?
I'm sorry, Butt Chug.
I just changed. I randomly changed the. Oh, okay. You didn't have to start it. You could have just done your thing. I feel bad. I kind of forced us to have this Wildberry Pop-Tart flag. What's up?
Good work, everyone. What's
Hold
the
on.
strategy for today, gang?
Hello.
Destroy the wizards, I guess.
Most devilish. Most
Yeah,
devilish
basically the
indeed.
normal thing that we do. Hold on.
Who the
I
fuck
think
is
if we
this
go-
guy? That's the
It's
Superman.
the soup man.
Ah, I see.
That's where you get the log soup and you become the wood.
I now understand. I still don't fucking get it.
Ooh, a toad and two
That is so
dogs.
understandable. Or you can craft this.
Instantly took that shit.
Here
I'm
and-
running.
Oh my god, you set me on fire.
Okay, so I realized that when we got in here, Lisa put this whole thing together, right? And she was like, "Oh, I'm hey with my friends." I know a little bit more than all these people. What are you gonna give me in exchange? A toad. Excellent. I don't know what I can do with this, but I have it now. This is that game, by the way, where if you scream fireball, it makes a fireball go woo. So you have to actually go out of your way and do spells and such. It's like a capture the flag type game. Oddly enough, you know what this game reminds me of more than anything is that if you remember Call of Duty 2, they had like a good capture the flag mode on there. Look at that shit. About to be a Pop-Tart. Fuck yeah. I just heard somebody. Hold on. Fireball. Oh yeah, they're down there. Fireball. I don't know if I'm coming close to hitting him or not.
Like we were just playing and suddenly Wobo showed up, I'd kind of freak out.
I wouldn't even be too surprised. Are you out there?
Yeah, I'm up here.
Oh, guys, he's right over this way.
It's me, Spot. I don't know who Spot is.
We accidentally killed Spot first thing.
Fireball.
Fireball!
I lied. It's not me. Oh shit! You actually hit me with that.
Fireball!
Magic missile.
Freeze!
Magic missile. There we go. Fireball. Damn, dude.
Leave us alone,
Fire!
sorcerer, or, what are you guys, necromancers?
Hole. Wormhole.
Magic missile!
Shit. Fart ball. Let's hope it, like, let's see if we can do different. Fart ball. Shit, I killed myself. Fuck.
Butt chug blew up butt chug.
The voice detection's not quite, it's not quite there. So you can kind of, you can hit it with some saucy words and it'll work. Free. Peas. Okay, that works. Fart ball. But Shire ball. Fireball. Yeah, you really, the voice detection's actually, it's getting better. Oh shit. Peas. Fireball. Fuck. These sound like actual gamers, dude. These guys know how to aim. Magic missile. Fireball.
Fireball!
Dude, imagine having a speech impediment trying to play this game, dude. It's like normal disabled people can't even play it. We found our first ableist game.
Did you have like a
TikTok voice that spoke for you? Like you gotta type it in.
Freeze.
Freeze.
Fuck! God, I suck! Magic missile. Fireball.
Magic missile. Magic missile.
Freeze. Oh my god, you got the drop on me and you still lost that? Stupid wizard bitch. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I forgot you can hear me after I kill you. Don't know that guy. These are all like friends of friends, so I can't be talking shit like that. Calling him a stupid bitch as soon as I kill him. Okay, hold on. There are like craftables. Yeah, nice try, guy. Okay. What happens if I put this here and this? An orb.
Yeah? Where are you, Papa?
There we go.
Hey, Papa, check this out. Dark Blast. Dark Blast. Dark Blast.
Fireball.
Dark Blast.
Freeze. Holy shit! He like shot me. What the fuck? Like didn't work for like the first 3 casts too. All right, hold on. Let me strategize a little bit here. I think all I had to do is get. Is that still our Pop-Tart flag? It's hard to see from here. I'm gonna have to go check it out. I don't even know if that's important. I'm just gonna go over to their side and steal their shit from their base. They're not gonna expect infiltration. Yeah, I got hit with a Jewish space laser. So, the wizard is Team Israel. Warlock, Team Palestine.
Dark Blast. Dark
Aren't we?
Blast.
We're homies. Oh, we're not homies. Freeze.
Magic Missile.
Fireball.
Freeze. Fireball.
Wormhole. Wormhole.
Magic Missile.
Fireball. Magic missile.
Fireball.
Fireball.
Freeze.
Fuck. Freeze.
Magic Missile.
Oh, that's a good one. Damn it. Magic missile. Oh, you dead with that one, dude. Oh, no. Fireball. Ha! Let's see. You have anything good? Oh, pages. Oh, look at that. He's been crafting things, dude. This guy's cheating. He has all sorts of crafted items. Am I back at our base again? God damn it. Rock? What's that do? Rock? Oh! Is that like a forever spell? Okay, wait. You know what? I might play just defense over here. Wait, is this our... This is our place, right? No, it isn't. This is their base. My bad. Rock. Oh my god. I kind of might be a scumbag right here. I just took their base. And now I'm going to take their life.
A warlock has been slain.
With my dark... Oh, wait, I can't say it. No! With my dark blast. That's what I was going to take their life with. Wait, there's a guy right there. Oh.
A warlock has been slain.
fuck? Uh-oh. They're down there. I hear them. They're over there. They're down. Okay. Fireball. Fireball. Oh shit, I fired too late. You think I should... I think I might just leave.
A warlock has been slain.
Yeah, all my warlocks are getting freaking owned. Wormhole.
Farewell!
Okay.
I'm making it up.
Hey, Lisa. This way.
Yes.
This way.
Right. Oh my god, I haven't seen you in forever.
I know, yeah, come on. Their base is this way, and they just seized it again. We have to re-seize it.
Okay, we gotta re-season it.
Yeah. I killed
Unseasoned,
Percussion.
you're-
That little fucker hasn't played the game yet. He's level 0. Already caught him with all sorts of spells and
I'm
stuff.
telling you, he's a born fucking.
He's a gamer.
That's
He's a
what I'm
gamer.
saying. I love your frog
He,
knife.
he's a gamer with a hard R. Yeah, he's like insane. I don't know how he does it.
Oh,
Shut up. Shut up, nerd. Rock! Yeah, fuck you. I got a rock.
fireball. Set that rock on fire. You know, for the sprinkles.
Fireball.
Shit, I'm getting messages. I don't know if it's my roommate saying to shut the fuck up.
Rock.
Two sorcerers
Rock.
have been slain.
Rock.
Oh,
Oh!
why did I?
Ow!
Why did
Yeah, I'm on your team!
I didn't mean to do that. I don't know why I did that. I'm gonna put the book.
You're
away.
cooking me, dude. I'm getting cooked.
Getting cooked. You're getting seasoned.
Oh, look, now this evil guy's behind us. Dark Blast!
Oh my god.
You fucked us!
Oh, he's dead.
Magic missile! Little fucking cretin. I'm taking that crystal you have.
I'm gonna jump. Oh, come on. There you go. Oh.
Yeah, we still have their base. Okay, you're good. Alright, stay here and defend that. I'm gonna go re-seize our base.
Okay. I'll just,
Wait, unless that's our base. I don't know.
I have no idea. No, I
I'm confused.
A warlock has been slain. The sorcerers have been banished. Victory.
Wait, Craig killed everybody. We won because
Wait.
Charborg killed every single person, and somehow that benefits us.
Huh.
I'm not gonna
Someone
complain.
killed himself is what happened.
No,
Apparently.
that's good. Hey, look, I leveled up. I'm an archmage now instead of a lackey.
Cool.
That's good news.
I'm a lackey now. Wait, are they talking in Discord?
I have no idea.
probably should not have cast it indoors. I think I killed all of us.
You did. And somehow we won because of it. And Lisa's now a grandmaster for some reason.
Holy shit!
What the
Nice.
fuck?
I just got better.
I
I
don't,
killed 1 or 2 people.
dude.
I'm a
The
fucking
pages.
sputterer.
I found out there's like torn pages that you can have just as an item that don't require a book. Like you just hold the page in your hand, and that's what I was
Yeah.
using.
I found one at the end
Apparently-
that just said rock, and so I just kept yelling rock, but nothing came out.
Oh, it makes a big rock come up. I got that same page from Percussion.
Okay.
Or more like a
Where do you get the
boulder.
pages?
I just found it in a pot.
I found it in a chest.
Where do you find the chests?
I found a dungeon, like a full creepy dungeon with monsters.
I feel
What?
like you could just yell about anything and any spell comes out.
Yeah.
I think
You
if
guys
you
ready
have
to go
enough
again?
fear in your heart, yes, the spell will come out. That's what I realized.
Yeah. When I tremble and I quake.
As soon
Hit
as I
that
start
motherfucking
quaking,
play button.
yeah.
Hit the mofo.
Join that motherfucking warlock side. I don't know if you guys play this game, but always warlocks, okay? We don't fuck with wizards around here. Just nefarious evil spells. Oh. I just got a sext message. Okay, cool.
After the flag. But this is new.
That's the same thing we did last time, isn't it?
It is. I'm done. Feel like my flag?
Yeah, it's awesome. Mine was a wildberry Pop-Tart. I kind of just made you guys use it last time, but... Alright, I want to get some more of those pages like Percussion had. I don't know where he got them, but I need them.
Oh yeah, I forgot to make my soup.
I ain't make that soup shit, man. I'm on my way. What if I go in here? I have been down here one time. This place is spooky and creepy. Oh wait, I think they're coming. I said here with them. This is a strategy. Okay, we wait for them to come in because I think they were coming here, and then I get them in the back with one of my spells. It's a strategy.
The sorcerers have captured the mushroom biome.
Maybe they're not coming here. I thought they were. Wait, they're just over there in their little castle. Hey, they left their gate
The
open.
sorcerers have captured the frog bog.
Taking the shot.
A sorcerer has been slain.
I'm gonna make log soup. I'm gonna take their log soup. People fucking hate it when you take their log soup. What the hell? Is that a map? Okay, they're at the... Okay. They're down in here. I can hear them.
Has been slain. The sorcerers have captured the
Oh, shit.
forest hills.
Oh shit.
I know where a secret location has lots of torn pages that we can use. I like those. Yeah, you're gonna love this shit. This mausoleum houses rapiaries.
Magic missile. Magic missile. Magic missile.
Has been slain.
Magic missile. You just got fucking owned. Okay. Okay, they went into the mausoleum. It's open mic, so I have to whisper.
Yeah. Oh God, sorry, I got scared. Hey, percussion.
Hey, guys.
Open and set some. Fireball.
What the fuck was that?
Fireball.
Fireball. Fireball.
Magic missile. Oh, fuck!
Freeze.
Oh, you got me good.
Fireball.
Okay, stop. Freeze.
All right, time out. Freeze.
Freeze. Fireball.
Fireball. Freeze. Magic missile.
Fireball.
Where the fuck are you?
Fireball.
Fireball. Fireball.
Oh, fuck!
Oh yeah, we got it.
I hit the goddamn cauldron in front of me. Dude, when you... There should be like a hand or something.
All right, let's lose.
Look, like when you do a fireball, it just comes like from in front of you. Like no indicator of where it's going to be launched from. So if you're standing anywhere near something, it'll hit it. Which is kind of annoying. But at least Charboard got killed by his homie, so that's good. And then his homie killed him. Okay. It was kind of like a back and forth. You know what? I'm just going to do a full-on genocide on this group of people here. Fireball. Fuck you guys. I'm a goddamn warlock. Freeze! Magic missile!
Warlocks have been slain. 3 warlocks have been slain.
There we go. Fuck you.
Hit him with the dart.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, they're all in the mausoleum. We have to hurry.
Oh, okay. Yo, some psycho killed all these elves.
Yeah, that was Lisa and Jim.
Oh, okay. No, at least it wasn't me. I would feel bad if I did that shit. You want to go back to the mausoleum?
Years too. It's fucked up.
Sam!
Hey, what's up?
How's it going? Have you been killing?
I've been getting killed. Freeze.
Oh!
Magic missile. Fireball. Freeze. Magic missile. Fireball. Fireball. Freeze. Fuck. Oh, damn it. Dude. He's killed me 1,000,000 times. I feel like I can never kill anybody. I always end up getting my ass kicked. I'd just give up, guys. If I was you, I'd just fucking go watch him. Go watch Charborg. You're just gonna see me get fucking decimated every 2 seconds. All right, hold on. Let me try some alternate spells here. Furball. Okay, that works. Foys.
Magic missile. Freeze. Freeze.
A warlock has been slain.
Oh wait, I could do like say cheese. Oh, that works. Okay.
Captured mushroom fire.
I was trying to do one like yesterday that was like would you please? That one works. Okay. Would you kindly? Would you
A warlock has been slain.
Is this ours or theirs? Ooh, check. Fucking smoked. Take this shit really quick. I think if I do 2 of these together in the crafting thingy, I can make something.
A warlock has been
Make something nefarious. Hold on. Put one there. Oh, look, there's another one coming to deliver the goods. Oh, a little mushroom man. Are you coming to deliver goods? Magic missile. Thanks, you stupid bitch. Take that. Log and a toad. Yeah, toad. This could be big. A frog spear. Okay. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, I got a homie.
A sorcerer has been slain.
Log. More toad. What can I do with like 2? Should I make another one? I'm gonna make another one so I can give one to a homie if I see him. 2 frog spears. Are you bringing more goods? Log, toad. Don't need that. Follow me, little mushroom man. We're going back into the mausoleum.
Warlocks have been slain. 2 sorcerers have been slain.
I think they're still in here. Hey, are you guys still in here? The silence is deafening. I would say yes. I would say I'm walking into a trap. What the hell? Ow, it's hurting me. Why was that hurting me to hit him with my spear? Does it hurt me to use the spear? Let's see. Interesting. Oh, he like sticks a little tongue out. What the fuck is this thing? What? Anybody know how this thing works? Toad spears for stealing items. The spear just makes people drop items. Okay, so I could like rob someone of their spell book, which could be huge. That seems to also kill him. Wait, what if I put 2 toads together? What if I do that? What if I do toad? And then I do another toad. Where's that other one at? The other one's right here. Hold on. I'll put these on the... I feel like I have to talk in a higher pitch because just a second ago, like, as soon as I started stream, some guy was like, oh, Sam's doing his fucking pirate software voice. What does that even mean? I have like... I can have a relaxed voice if I want.
Fireball.
Any little sorcerers in or any little warlocks in here?
No.
Hmm? Really?
Fireball.
Oh, shit!
Freeze. Fireball.
Fireball.
Jesus Christ, dude! They swarmed me!
This game
I
is
love
actually
this game.
fucking
This
amazing.
is so good.
Oh yeah, they're all talking about, oh, it was so good, so amazing. I just got my ass destroyed.
I've always been him.
0 and 3. Pathetic. I don't even want to undeafen and talk to them. Just get my fucking ass piled in. Yeah. Toad balloon plus shroom man equals flight.
I love this. Who are we missing?
yeah. Yeah, Papa and Charborg, 2 guys on the winning team. Oh yeah, this is badass. Oh yeah, I just won, got a bunch of kills. This is awesome. I just got my ass destroyed. I don't think anybody got a kill on our team.
I got 2 kills. All right, I'll let you know. We were just watching Sam for like 6 minutes, walking around with this little toad balloon, being like, what's this do?
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you guys? Oh, like you guys couldn't respawn?
Yeah, because you took their castle and they took our castle, so neither of us could respawn, and we were just stuck watching the last people left alive. And it was just Sam experimenting with frogs.
Yeah, I got fucking destroyed. I didn't even consider that. I can't figure out which castle is ours.
You know how to open the map if you hold Q?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you hold B, you can teleport back to your castle.
Oh,
It also
what?
What about that?
Yep.
What, like League of Legends? Like you can just teleport back? Okay, I did not know
you're wizards.
that.
You could do most stuff.
You can do practically anything.
I'm a warlock.
Yeah.
Very nice that you're telling us, because I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I'm level 7.
And you're like a master or something.
I'm like a master, and you're a lackey. You didn't know that.
Yeah, I think I got demoted actually. I was something beyond a lackey, and then I got demoted. Whatever. How do you keep leveling up and getting more prestigious titles? Oops.
Mage last time.
Wait, really?
Yeah, you got promoted to Archmage.
Oh, that sounds so much cooler than lackey.
Kraken, you're still a sputterer.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Wait, there's 1 slot left.
Yeah, we're waiting on Mr. Man. His power messed up.
Gotcha.
They'll be right back.
Power box flipped.
Been there.
So, had you guys discovered the little gnome village?
Yes, and I watched this. I think it was Papa and Sput, or maybe Percussion and Sput. Yeah, they just systematically burned everything down. They fireballed all the villages, all the huts, like burned all the little dudes.
That's unethical.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I don't condone that behavior.
It was for XP.
Those guys they're simple traders. I think
you talking about the gnomes that we nuclear bombed?
Yeah.
Oh, they're XP to me, so.
Yeah, dude, I just had to watch in terror as I was dead and just watched you guys wipe out that little village.
Well, I took my torch. I needed that.
No, I get it.
We needed to burn down their houses too.
When you walk up to them, they go, "Hello there." And
That didn't happen. We didn't burn down their houses. Just got to get in front of that. That did not happen.
Yeah, you demolished it with a bomb.
You know, I only hit one of them with a straight freeze bolt. Then Spud just went fireball and killed the rest. So
that is not how that went down. I don't even think I killed a single one. If I'm being honest, like that, a wizard would never. Like that's warlock behavior, and I would never, ever do that. On my spellbook, I would never do that.
On my spellbook. You guys want to scramble the teams?
Like
yeah, let's do it.
That sounds delicious.
Do I still get to be a warlock or?
Yeah, this is
because if everybody scrambles, then we're just going to end up with the same teams on different.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I will never play warlock. I just want to get that out there.
I will only play warlock. You know what? Since you said that, I just want to. I'm going to put my foot down.
I just think if you play warlock, you're a bad person. I'm sorry.
I just feel like if you play wizard, you're kind of like a pussy, like the pussy of magic.
Okay, all right. Meet me in the hexes, bro. You're done.
Okay. I haven't gotten a kill yet. I don't care, but I still have like blood magic and evil things that I do. And I wagged my finger at you guys, but I have killed those little elves in that village multiple times.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to admit to it.
I would probably do the same if I came across it. It's hard not to.
It is, yeah.
You people are sick.
Coming from the guy who wiped out the village.
Allegedly, just want to point that allegedly. No one can prove anything. Maybe it was a wildfire. Maybe they just happened to all burn down.
Right? Maybe Percussion was lying. Maybe he's lying.
Have you guys seen those giant like toads that are in the swamp? And will eat
Spud
you?
has.
God, I watched Spud get eaten by one. It was terrifying.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Spud went over to one and was like, "Is this a giant toad?" And then it just like grabbed him with his tongue. He just like pulled him into its mouth.
Oh,
It's actually really nice.
Graphic.
Yeah, dude, the swamp is scary because if you fall in the water, it's like...
Can we talk about the political and economic state of the Mage Arena right now? Yeah, I feel like probably like the Wizards side is like Israel, and the Warlocks are like Palestine. That was a wet ass burp. I need to figure out at the very beginning. I'm gonna hit Q and figure out whose castle is who, because they look identical as far as I can tell. And I've noticed that when there's like a little lady that goes like, the wizards have taken the warlock's castle. I need to like pay attention to that better. That way, if my homies are watching me, they don't have to. I can go save them, get them respawned. Yo, chat, how do I get into the Discord? I think there's literally a fucking Discord invite in the description of every video I've posted in the past 10 years. There has to be. Yeah, there's just an invite in there. I think there's a fucking Discord invite if you scroll down on Twitch. I'm 90% sure it's... Well, I don't know about that one. I haven't, like, modified my Twitch page in a while. But... Don't worry, you're not missing much, buddy. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? The Discord's popping. Sort of. Oh, yeah, if you scroll down, it says Die of Laughter, episode 1, out now. Yeah, that's how like, rarely I get on Twitch. I don't want to, like, denigrate these guys' entire job or whatever, but I'm not, like, a big... Like, Twitch gives me the ick. You ever heard of a woman seeing a guy do something and they're like, that gives me the ick. I don't know what it is about Twitch, but it fucking gives me the ick. I think some of the most detestable people I've come across in this industry are on Twitch. I think every homie I've met that's just a YouTube person is just like a regular cool person. But all the Twitch people... I mean, overwhelming majority of the Twitch people are cool, but if there's ever a stinker, it's usually a live streamer. I think because Twitch is so much more of like a, like, oh, look at me, like a reality, or like not a reality show, but like a popularity contest type thing. It's a worse vibe. We're just casually waiting on this guy to get back. Don't you want us to have a parasocial relationship with you? Aren't you like our best friend that loves and cares for us? I'm so fucking sorry. I forgot, dude. I dropped my mask for just a second. Hold on. Okay. I'm so sorry. Chief Bungie, you are absolutely right, dude. That's why you're my best friend. You know? Fist bump to that. Yeah, I had completely forgotten that. We're just homies like that. Quicks on the ass eating up top. I agree with that. What's up with the wacky meats, brother man? What do you mean wacky meats? Oh yeah, that guy never fucking sent me my meat. I think I just made that like that hit piece on him, and then he's never responded to my email afterwards. Oh shit, let me join Warlocks. We're starting. They can't hear me in this screen, can they? What does ass taste like? Dude, if it tastes like something, then you haven't taken a shower beforehand, okay? You need to wash that shit out. I think everybody, yeah, you should definitely just wash that out. beforehand. Wait, hold on. Let me see if I can force us to have a cool flag. Force us to have the wildberry Pop-Tart. That guinea pig wasn't a guinea pig? Really? It did look like a big fucking mouse. I do, honestly... Oh, never mind.
Yo, yo.
What's up, pimps?
Why did our flag not save?
There's the flag, baby.
Oh, I see you now. Dude, what a good flag. Who made this? Huh? Oh, wait, am I talking in Discord?
Yep.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna do this the rest of the round, so I hope I can't tab out.
That's
All right.
okay.
I'm gonna go trade with those little forest people. Okay, guys, our castle is the one in the top right. It matches our wildberry Pop-Tart flag. It's purple.
I see.
And remember, you can press B to teleport back.
And remember, you can press B to teleport back.
Oh.
Why is that
What's
reverbing
that?
so much?
I don't know.
Tickles you?
Ooh, what is that? Frog on a stick?
Yeah.
Nice, very nice. Why are you reverbing?
I think he's talking in front of the magic mirror
That
thing.
makes you reverb and echo across the entire map.
Wait, that's awesome.
Dude, we can hear you across the fucking map right now.
Wait, what soup did he eat? Rock soup. Rock soup makes me loud. Well, cast one.
You should taunt the enemy team since I think they could probably hear you. Okay, it wore off.
Oh wait, I hear them. Nah, I'm gonna go back over to their side. I'm taking their goddamn castle. Fireball. Fireball. Oh, I'm hitting them, I think. Fireball. Was I just hitting him? Fireball. Okay. Hmm.
Fireball.
Fireball. Magic missile.
Freeze. Fireball.
Oh! Oh, fuck!
Yeah. I'm gonna
Fireball!
Fireball. Son. Freeze.
Fireball! Why did mine go off? Fireball!
Fireball. Fireball.
Magic missile.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
God damn it. I have to say it like a fucking, like a TikTok guy in order to get it to work.
Freeze. No.
It's weird. I can say like cheese and it'll work.
Magic missile. Worm. Freeze.
Yep.
Nice.
going to volcano.
Me.
Magic missile!
No.
Eat shit, Jim! Fireball!
No. Fuck you.
Just stand on the flag.
Fireball.
Freeze!
Fireball.
He knocked me through the wall!
Where'd you go, you motherfucker?
Stand on the flag.
Fireball.
Rock suit makes you loud. Wait, rock suit makes you loud?
Rock suit makes you loud. We could hear at the beginning of the round when Jim hit the rock suit, we could hear him everywhere.
Whoa, those are quick. Those are real quick.
The rounds?
I didn't pull my punches that time.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to go for the flags.
Yeah. No, it's quick if you take like the you know, like your actual base flag early.
Maybe I really need to scream the spells in order
I
for
don't-
them to work.
I feel like I have to say it like I'm a fucking like salesman, like I'm Billy Mays or something. I have to be like fireball in order for,
So funny.
for them
Yeah,
to
the different
work.
approaches. Because like I get into it, I'm trying to play the character, but then if I do that too much, it doesn't work. So I have to like rein it back.
Fireball.
Dude, at the beginning.
I'm a spotter.
Nice spot. Welcome. Oh, no, I'm a novice now. I got
I'm a
promoted.
savant.
I'm still a lackey. Why can't I level up?
I don't know why.
What am I doing wrong?
Honestly, you're getting a shitload of kills, so I have no idea how you're not leveled up. But
Dude, the beginning of the round when Jim ate the rock soup, I don't know what it sounded like for you guys, but for us across the map, it was like this booming voice on the mountaintop that we could not turn off, and he kept just saying, soup, soup, soup.
Well, I didn't know you guys could hear me. I didn't know you guys
By the
could
time
hear
we
me.
realized it actually transmitted across the map, I was like, oh, like intimidate them, and he said, "Fuck you," and then it wore off, and he said, "Eat my ass," or something like that. Like, all right, you guys
Nobody
ready?
else could hear me. It fucking sucked.
Yeah.
I wish I'd known that I was gonna do that. I was just talking to myself. Saying, soup.
Wait, apparently the voice recognition of this game is designed for male voices.
well, yeah, it's made by cool guys for cool guys.
Okay.
Alright, what should we make today, my wizards?
I'm not saying it's sexist. It's just like you have to expect a wizard game where you cast wizard spells would be primarily played by men. There's probably like 3 women playing this.
Maybe 4. Maybe 5.
Who took my stick?
I don't know, dude.
I'm gonna eat some rock soup again.
Here.
Yeah, eat some rock soup and then like really intimidate them.
Grasp item. Whose item is this?
All right, I'm going deep in here.
Hey, Craig, check this shit out. Wait.
Fireball. Did that work? Magic missile. Freeze!
Oh yeah, those guys are tough.
Fuck! Fuck! God damn it. I think I got just the one and then I died. And now they're gonna get all the goodies? Oh, that's fucking, that's perfect. Whoa. Divine light. Oh, shit. I shouldn't use that. Okay, so I got a page.
A fireball.
Hey. Freeze! Magic missile! Fireball!
Freeze!
Fireball! Fuck! Fireball. Fuck! I should have used that stupid spell page I have. Dude, I'm getting my ass destroyed. Maybe I'm not a good wizard. Maybe I'm actually just like a dumb bitch with a spell book. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. I've legitimately, I've played this three nights in a row. I think 4 nights.
Fireball.
I know what the fucking page does. It heals. I was hurt. I should have healed. But look, these fuckers are getting kills front, left, and center.
A little bit.
Didn't even say that I lost any frames. What happened?
There we go.
I nearly hit you.
He's our only person alive.
Oh, right over there.
Yeah.
Fireball.
Thunderbolt.
Oh, what the fuck is that? Fireball.
That's Thunderbolt.
Freeze.
Fireball.
Yeah.
Oh my god, are you okay?
Nope.
It's just that easy.
It's just that easy.
Yeah, dude.
It's just that easy.
Baby. I didn't do anything, by the way. I didn't get a single kill. I literally, all I did was drink the rock soup and start barking. That's all I did.
That's right.
This is the underdog POV. Yeah.
Or fast if you just go for the base. Do we want to?
This
Do you
is
have like an in-house
scream it.
rule to not do that, or what do you guys? Or just I guess play better defense?
I don't know. It depends. Do you like me having the saddest stream ever to be streamed? My chat's calling me a fucking muggle because I'm just getting obliterated by you people. I don't even think I've gotten a kill.
Okay, how about we do map size large and we don't go for the base immediately?
No, I don't care if the base is taken. That's fine with me.
Who are we missing in the lobby here?
I think we definitely got to do large map with this many people. Yeah.
Yeah, I just forget each time a new round starts,
you
you have to
forget.
reselect the map size.
Wait, I need to
And
leave the lobby real quick.
Okay.
Lisa said that and the drum started going crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Oh my god.
She's prepping a spell, dude.
Oh
Something
my
big.
fuck. Thank you.
You can't lower the volume, can you?
Of
Either
what,
lower
the-
it in game
The game.
or Windows Mixer.
I guess that's a way to do it. Yeah.
Dude,
Oh.
seeing Charborg at the end smugly say Thunderbolt, and I'm like, he knows a new spell.
Dude, yeah, Thunderbolt's crazy. I haven't used it much, but it's really cool. Might be meta.
There you go.
All right, good luck out there, wizards and sorcerers and warlocks.
Yes. Apprentice, oh lord.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
slowly
Lord.
losing your
Yeah,
status.
It hasn't killed them in
yeah.
years.
Join the fucking club, dude. I don't even know if I'm capable of magic at this point.
Yes, you are. Don't say that. Oh,
No, dude, it's not working for me.
No, no.
All sorcerers and warlocks to the
Hello.
Mage Arena.
Hello.
hello.
Is there like a big oh wait, give me that and that. Check this out. I'm gonna make one of these right here.
I'm making a rock soup.
Frog
Yeah,
spear.
please.
Yeah, I got one too.
Let your voice be known, Rock Soup.
Yes.
Ha! Yeah, Charborg, I took your spear out of your hands.
Wait, what? How did you? Wait, Lisa, did your phone just go off in the rock soup?
Yeah, I just kind of ate one. It's kind of tasty.
Did you get a text message?
A text message?
Yeah, what was that beep?
I don't know.
Was that my phone?
I think it might have been yours.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, dude, this is cool. The frog spear takes things from people's hands.
Okay, wait. Can you grab my book? Devious.
No way.
Okay, we need to go snatch and grab some books from some wizards.
Yeah, dude, let's fucking do it. That's
Because without their books, they're nothing. And let's make sure to close our portcullis before we leave.
Give me back my fucking book.
Wait, is that our... Did we ever capture our own flag? Okay, we did.
We finished.
We just had... We don't have a flag for some reason.
Really?
Stroking my cock at a medium pace.
That's gross, dude. Keep the shit PG.
Your voice is normal now. You're just saying that just to us.
Well, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. And lewd.
Oh my fucking god, dude.
Who do you think would win? The big toad that eats you or us with these frogs on sticks?
Use the frog stick to fight him, I bet.
Yeah, I think so. I think that sounds like a good idea, actually. Fuck me.
I think you should try it. Wait, I've never been up here.
Yeah, let's go up here. Let's see.
The wind pushes you around.
That's what's happening.
Huh? Spot?
Fireball.
Magic missile.
The sorcerers have captured the forest hill.
Where in the fuck are we?
I don't know. I'm trying to see.
We're in the elephant
You're like in a
pass.
blizzard, dude.
I can't see anything up here, dude. What is it, Delaware Hammer?
Yo, we captured this shit. I can't see anything, but we captured.
Fuck you!
Fireball. Yes. Yes.
Has been slain.
Okay.
The sorcerers have captured the mushroom biome.
Ooh. What's up, little homie? Let's trade some shit. Was this Blink? What the hell? Blink. Oh, it just makes me kind of like go forward a little bit. Blink. What's that doing? Blink. Anybody know what that does? You can blink through castle walls. Oh, okay. Oh, see if I can blink through this. Blink. Okay. Ah! Watch out!
What do you have?
Enemy ahead! Oh! Magic missile. And fireball. Freeze! Magic missile. Fireball. Oh, I just hit you, Lisa. I'm sorry.
Freeze.
Freeze.
Fireball. Yes. Are you all right?
I'm okay, I'm okay. I took his book
Oh,
out
sweet.
of his hand.
Oh, you took his book?
It
Nerd?
was hilarious.
And I got this grasp levitator. I don't know what it does.
Oh,
There we
you
go.
should fly.
Yeah!
Yes.
Dude, he just picked me up with that. Look at me and see if you can lift me. What if we lift somebody up and we
Oh.
just take their
I didn't know you
weapons
could
with the
do that.
frog?
The sorcerers have captured the
Yo, check this out. Blink.
Oh my
No
god.
way.
Where did he fucking go?
He's in there.
Wait.
He's-
This is our base. Isn't it? Blink. My bad, pimps. I broke into the wrong castle.
Yeah, this is just.
Wait, hold on. I got my levitator for this guy. Come back here, you little cretin. Oh, wait, I can't pick him up. Destroy him.
Yeah, someone fireball his ass.
Can you pick me up and throw me? Maybe like west. Whoa! Aw.
I don't think I can, like, throw you.
sorcerer has been slain.
I can pick you up and put you in the lava, though. Hold on.
Oh fuck. I don't know if I feel comfortable with this.
You'll be all right.
I think it's. I'm starting to feel a little bit of. It's
It's
starting to get
okay.
a little hot. It's starting to get a little hot over here.
I'll just put your toes in.
Being bathed in lava. Hold on, Kraken.
Oh shit!
Whoa, your blink saved your ass. That was so cool.
Fireball.
Fireball.
Blink.
Freeze.
Wait. Freeze.
Magic missile.
Magic missile.
Fireball.
Worm.
Magic missile.
In your face. Oh god, wait, shit. This is quicksand. This is quicksand.
Get out swamp. Get out swamp. Get out swamp.
Get in the swamp.
Oh, did you hear that?
Oh, it just grabbed somebody.
Yeah, it just ate Papa.
Wait, is Papa on our team?
No, it's good.
No.
We like that.
Oh, I think I picked him up with the levitator and threw him into the swamp. Ah!
Where are they?
Fireball.
Freeze.
Where are you?
Freeze.
Magic missile.
Freeze.
Freeze. Fireball.
Magic missile.
Magic
I
missile.
have to. Wait, where's that other thing I have?
No.
Blink.
Kill Craig.
Oh no.
No, I'm sorry, Craig.
Craig, no.
Fireball, where are you? Shit.
Where?
Oh.
Freeze.
Oh.
Magic missile.
Coming around.
Oh no.
Fireball. No.
Where the fuck is the staircase? There we go. It's hard to see this shit, dude. It's dark as hell up in this bit.
Fireball.
Freeze.
It's some sort of wormhole.
Now let's finish this.
Freeze.
No.
Fireball. I mean,
Fireball. Fireball.
Freeze. Magic missile. Magic missile. Fireball.
Magic missile. Magic missile. Magic missile. He's dead. Push the advantage.
Blink.
We are wizards of good. We come to claim your
Fireball. Back up. B word. This is our shit. Ow!
doesn't go through the thing.
It does go through the thing. You hit me.
Magic missile.
Papa!
Fireball.
Check out fucking weed. Fireball. Dude, give me some of that shit.
Yeah, check it out. I'm straight up
Divine
smoking weed
light.
right now.
Oh my god, you might burn me to death. It's close.
You want some weed in the pipe?
Fireball.
What's going on here? What are you doing? Hello in there. I don't think anyone's home.
The warlocks have captured the Crystal Caverns.
Fireball.
What the? Are you okay, Papa?
Fireball. I know you're in here, baby. Where are you?
I'm gonna kill your soup goblin. Fireball.
Fireball.
Fireball. Oh shit.
The hell is this guy?
Magic
Like a
missile.
fucking random.
Fireball.
Fireball.
Ah!
Hook me my soup.
I'm pretty
Very
sure
nice. Very nice.
Charborg just fucking shot. Okay, no, he wasn't there. I was about to say, I think Charborg just shot me, but I guess percussion kind of sounds like him.
Magic missile.
Vaguely. Okay, wait, do we have the crystal? Wait, hold on, can we hit? Oh, we can do this.
She's dead. Everybody huddle up. I got
Fireball.
divine light.
Heal quick. Percussion. I'm gonna die.
It's on cooldown. Follow me.
Magic missile.
Oh my god. You saved me.
Fireball. Freeze.
Oh god.
Magic missile.
Fireball.
Magic missile.
Magic missile. Oh my god.
Very nice. Very nice.
Fireball.
Goddamn right.
Such a good defensive mechanism. I didn't know that existed.
Missile.
Fireball. Fireball.
Fireball. Divine light.
Siege
I'm going to make log
castle.
soup. I'm getting some log soup.
Wait, the hell? The door's
Fireball.
closed.
That's why we're
Fuck!
can't get in.
Freeze! Why? Magic missile! Why would it launch me? Fireball! God damn it! It like fucking picked me up.
This is scary, man.
Shit!
The wizard
This is Wizard C.
All right. All right, I'm gonna have to drink a little bit more beer, I think.
You're like a goat.
Watch this.
Like
Fireball.
Oh my god.
I was just coming over here to trade with these guys. Hey, we should all hit B and go fucking massacre them.
Let's do it.
You fucked with the wrong base, bitch! Fireball!
Fireball. Fireball.
Freeze!
Fireball.
Magic missile!
Magic missile.
No! Magic missile!
Magic missiles. Fireball. Magic missile.
Sit still!
Magic missile.
Oh my god, I'm getting thrown around like a rag doll.
Fireball. 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 Magic missile.
Freeze.
Get out of our wizard base.
Magic
Freeze.
missile.
Magic missile.
Fireball.
Freeze. Fireball. Fireball.
Fireball.
Magic missile. Oh my god. Fireball.
Freeze.
Magic missile. Fireball.
Freeze.
Fireball.
He's in the tower. Kill him. Fireball.
No, I'm not up here!
Freeze.
Oh!
Use the portal
Fireball.
Dude, I can't see shit.
Magic missile.
Yeah, there's too much smoke. Because of all the ass kicking, we came back to save our base. I don't even think we grabbed it.
Fireball.
Magic missile.
I can kill nations with my power.
Surrender, Charborg. You are surrounded.
They're done. I'm not surrounded. You are. Fireball.
Your fireball skills are crap. Yeah, dude, I'm fucking... Look at this. 1 kill. 3 deaths.
Got the trait dopey.
I got fucking owned.
It's
terrifying. I get so scared.
Yeah.
That was
an
intense.
enticing war type game I've ever fucking experienced.
Yeah, dude, I like trying to defend the castle. That was cool.
Yeah, dude, the portcullis or whatever is such a good defense thing because you have to just sit there and keep ticking at it, and you can just keep pelting them with fireballs.
What is it?
Yeah, you guys were all fucking up top, right? That's what happened?
It's
Yeah,
like
that's where I was.
The gate, you have to like pick the lock on the gate, and when you do that, you can get into the base.
Oh, that's
But-
cool.
Oh, I
So
see.
we
I
couldn't get
see.
in unless we had a way of jumping over the wall. And so you guys were just throwing fireballs down at us until eventually it was just Charborg left in the tower and we were all pelting him with fucking fire.
Dude, my screen was shaking so hard. There's fire everywhere I couldn't see.
Ugh, I feel like I just can't see shit. It's so dark.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a gamma setting in game.
Yeah,
That's what
that's
the
what I was
torch is
looking
for.
True.
No, I think it's just true to what a wizard war would be. You know, you're just
Yeah.
firing upon your
Permanent
friend.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first casualty of the Wizard War is the sun. They cast eternal darkness.
You think there's anybody that plays this with like hacks, like wall hacks?
You just giving me a wonderful idea.
Yeah, we need to... Okay. Warlocks, everybody download like ESP or whatever that is, like the wall
That's
hacks.
our spell. We cast ESP.
We're evil. We hack. Just a little bit. I still feel like we would lose. Like for
Yeah.
some reason, I have gotten to many situations where I'm like, I got them by the balls. I've come up right behind them and I got them right where I want them, and then they turn around and kill me.
What always gets me is
Like
there's a
one
slight
spell.
delay that's like unpredictable. Like I'll be like fireball, and then the time between the fireball casting is like always slightly different, so I never line it up right.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, I joined Team Warlock, by the way.
Oh, we gotta. Oh, the team flag is fine. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay, okay.
Greetings, fellow warlocks. I'm the Green Sorcerer.
Hello, hello.
Hello, warlocks.
Oh, you
Let's see what we got. Oh, we have an awesome mushroom.
What does the crystal do?
I think if you do that with a piece of wood, it makes a.
Oh, I made him some little fucking homunculus.
Homunculus golem. Hello.
Hello, little friend.
Oh, I can grasp him.
Yeah, go ahead and grasp him. I think that will
I
help.
think you're talking in both, by the way, Jim.
Oh, shite.
A classic
Oh, wait.
faux pas.
My name's not Jim. I was concerned for a second, and then I realized that my name is not Jim at all.
What should we do with this golem?
I believe he can either defend or maybe even attack.
So wait, we just leave him like so?
Just leave him. Yeah, he seems
Oh my
great.
god, look, he's so...
Oh, he's imprinted. Oh, it's alright, it's alright. I'm sure
he's
means
friendly.
well.
Oh, he means well, okay.
I like this little staff, dude.
How does that work?
I don't know, you just jump with it. You just bounce on it once you make it, I guess. You want to try it out? Here you go. It's mushroom with a log, and you can make a bouncy staff. And you kind of ride it like a little pogo stick.
I believe that the non-wizarding folk call it a pojo stick.
Yeah.
Pojo, interesting. I wonder
Hey, guys.
if you bounce higher if you jump off of something. Watch this.
Guys, if we trade our torches to those little, like,
items.
those little goblin guys out in the forest, the little smurfs, they'll give us, like, awesome spell pages.
Oh.
They gave me a rock last time I did.
Hey, gang, while we've been role-playing here, they've taken 2 territories.
Okay, here, Sam.
Oh, my bouncing stick?
Yeah, have fun with the pojo. I'll see you back at the base. Maybe close the portcullis. Yes, very good.
Good call.
Yes,
Didn't we capture our own flag?
Well, yes, but they also captured everything else. So I'm going to go for the lava. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Yeah, I'll come to Larva.
Larva it is. Calling Gopo. The Pojo stick May.
They're in the swamp. This is bee hopping in this game. I'm actually pretty high tier for being able to do this. Am I heading towards where I need to head? Where am I going? No, I'm not. Oh, they're fighting in there. Should I go join them? I was gonna go trade some stuff, but I guess I can do this.
Blink! Magic missile! Divine light! Fireball! Freeze! Fireball!
Freeze!
Ouch! Magic missile! Did you?
Oh fuck!
Fireball.
Magic missile!
No!
Oh!
Freeze!
No!
Magic missile!
I think we're friends! Who is that?
Fireball!
Okay, we're not friends.
Magic missile!
No, stop!
Magic missile!
Stop!
No, wait, fireball!
No! Jesus Christ, dude. That guy was aggro. No, no, I'm friendly. I'm actually friendly.
Thunder bolt.
Don't say that.
I'm just. How the hell would I even get that? That's probably not even a first spell. I don't like that guy. I don't think I bounce around wherever the hell he wants to go.
Set him on fucking fire.
Wait, they captured our base?
The warlocks have captured the Misty Mountains.
Might go capture this really quick. Be useful somehow. Take the leafy area. No. Oh. Dick. Magic missile.
Magic missile!
Fuck!
Fireball!
Fireball! Ah! God damn it.
Blink!
Like one hit me.
I've recaptured the base.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm getting completely demolished out there. I think I need to travel in a pack.
All right, very well. You travel with me then.
Yeah.
What is it they call you at the Wizard Academy?
Buttchug. That's my name.
Is that
I actually wanted to be a wizard. They said your name is actually, you're kind of wizard, or you're. What's this guy behind you?
Oh my God, it's him! Help! He's cutting me! He's got a fucking sword! Do something, Buttchug!
Magic missile. Okay. Okay. I see you got game. Freeze. Shit. The fuck was that guy doing out there? It's like an NPC.
So I just auto teleport back here. That's what I should be doing.
That was. Yeah, I kind of lit him down there. Hey, what's up? Sorry about that.
dude? That guy killed you too.
Wait, where the fuck did that guy come from? He was looming behind you. He was just like staring over your shoulder.
And he chased me all the way home and has been following me ever since. He fucking hates me.
I thought he was a homie. He looked evil. I figured he was one of us. Okay, I'm going to the lightning on that one. I'm just gonna do indiscriminate fireballs. Freeze! What the hell? Magic missile! Dude. Dude! Dude! At least he got fucking eaten by the thing. This is sad. I compel you to go fucking watch a different stream. This is like the saddest stream I've ever done. Fireball. Freeze. Oh, with the snipe! It was my teammate! Damn it, I'm sorry! Fireball! Magic missile.
No. Let's get up there.
A warlock has been slain.
Let's get up here and then we're gonna fire upon them. Yes, 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 yes. Haven't come in here yet.
Fireball.
Oh, you motherfucker! Fireball.
Freeze.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Fireball.
You son of a bitch.
Magic missile. Shit, that didn't work. Freeze. Fireball.
We're teleporting, we're teleporting.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, wait, were you the guy up in the tower?
I was for a second until I got fucking shot out of it.
Oh, that was me, dude. I'm sorry. I heard your voice and I was like, that guy sounds like a wizard to me. Hey, get off our portcullis, dick! Fireball!
Fireball.
This is our castle, dummy. Back up.
Divine light.
Fireball. Yeah, I checked out with a 2 to 5 business days, bitch.
Going up top.
Fireball.
Fireball.
No.
Magic missile.
Fireball.
Freeze. Fireball! I got a kill! I got one! Jesus. That's like the only thing I've been able to do is one singular kill. But I felt like a fucking badass doing it. Oh, wait.
Strain your eyes right over there.
Right over there, you say.
Right
I don't see anything despite.
Are you guys wizards or are you guys evil?
Oh, hello, Buttchug. We're over here in the slime.
We
and
are
the sludge
friends.
and the
We're
mud.
friends.
Oh, hello.
Just hanging out in the swamp as one does.
He's behind you now, right over there.
Good heavens.
Be wary, Buttchug. Right over there, there seems to be a big frog.
Right over there.
Might you have a levitation tome of some sort to get me out? Oh, there we go.
No need, no need.
Hold on, let's hit this guy with a magic missile.
Look,
with a fireball.
It's pretty done, but Chug.
He must be gone by now.
Oh! No! God damn it! What the fuck? What the hell?
We must be off.
We must be off. Wait, we must capture the flag in the swamp.
We must. Yes. They'd never expect us to be hiding amongst the sludge and the mud and the grime. And
Sam,
the dirt
beg
and the
for
frogs
subs
and the
or you're
dirt.
not a real streamer.
This is far too dangerous of a location.
Please, guys, please. Guys, I'm going to be streaming for an indefinite amount of time until you guys give me enough subs to cover whatever debt I have. I have an insane amount of debt I've accumulated. I need you to sub to me in order to pay it off.
Oh, ouch. I think someone's found us. Oh no, it's my golem. I just tried to fireball my golem.
I bet you subathons are way more prevalent during tax season.
I apologize.
Your words have power. You of all people should know that.
I will never say that word again.
Very good. Now, shall we teleport back to the base and respawn the others?
We shall. Let's go.
Oh! Oh! Did you see that?
Stop right there.
That thing ate Kraken as he teleported. He made it all the way back to the castle and then he got yanked. That was awesome.
Breaking.
Wonder what that looked like from his perspective.
Wherefore art thou?
Dude, get your fat ass on that flag. Get the flag.
What is this? They've claimed our flag. That's what it is.
Here we go. Yes.
Yes.
Everybody hit beat Kraken. Dude, what happened to you with that frog? That was incredible. Yeah, you went all the way back to the castle and then got yanked all the way across the map. That was awesome. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta see that.
Excellently done, Mr. Craig.
Oh, I had the most terrible dream, Craig.
It was all dark. There was
You
nothing.
see, as I was teleporting away, I appeared in this castle, and then the frog's tongue reached me across the map and dragged me back to its mouth.
Oh my god. Was it incredible?
Hey, your little golem friend's here.
Hey,
Where's the little lad?
there he is.
He kind of sucks, to be honest. He hasn't helped us once.
He doesn't
Yeah.
do much.
He's just kind of here for vibes. I guess that's enough.
Honestly relatable. Wait, is this all of their portals?
Yeah, we should get rid of these somehow.
Freeze.
Stomp these portals out.
Hit him with freeze.
Magic missile.
Who are you? Who are you?
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Fireball.
Fireball. I know there's people back there, but they can handle it. There's someone over here in the swamp.
Lisa, look out! Freeze!
A warlock has been slain.
Fireball.
Warlocks have been slain.
Behind you, fireball!
Fireball.
A warlock has been slain.
Oh, wow.
Is that the frog?
I don't know.
Where is it? Fireball.
Freeze. Fireball.
I don't think we're hurting it.
Freeze.
I'm pretty sure it just moves.
Fireball.
I don't even know if he died.
A warlock
Magic missile. Fireball. See them over there.
Three warlocks have been slain.
That.
A sorcerer has been slain.
Oh, it went inside. It would have been awesome.
Freeze.
Well, what was your perspective on vegan?
Fireball. Magic missile. Jesus Christ! Everybody's so much better than me. I have no fucking. No.
Oh, I killed percussion. No.
That's okay.
Fireball.
Don't even worry about that.
Freeze.
No percussion.
Crap.
Fireball.
Come on.
Magic missile.
Freeze.
Freeze. Fuck! Dude!
This game is incredible.
Dude! 1 kill? 6 deaths?
Bad-mannered thing.
What did he do?
Sput has been throwing cum ball instead of fireball, and it's casting.
I can't believe that.
Dude, I cum
made his
bolted
own
into a cum
spin.
ball and killed someone. It's crazy.
Dude, the idea of these wizards adding their own unique spin to classic spells and everyone frowning on the additions they've done.
It's like teabagging in Halo.
Yeah.
The last thing you hear being cum ball and then blowing up into smithereens is horrible.
Into hot cum. as
Okay,
you're
how come
fucking
cum
melting
ball's
alive.
working for you, and then I was doing fart ball, and it was going like, I'll cast half the time.
Yeah, dude, it's inconsistent.
It
These
is.
mage books, they don't make sense.
This is honestly pathetic, though. I had 37 spells cast, 1 kill, traveled 5,000 meters.
Oh,
I was just
a
wandering
note
around.
for both teams. In the bottom right, if the little orb goes from angel wings to like a scary skull, that means our home base was captured, and you can hold B to teleport back. And unless you capture that middle flag, no one can respawn. So
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was gonna say it's hard to keep track of when your teammates are dead, but that makes sense.
I just thought it was always like an evil skull because I was a warlock.
Yeah, I kind of prefer it being an evil skull, so I'm not gonna be capturing my base.
No. They call me crazy, but do wizards have smaller hitboxes than warlocks?
Yeah, I think.
And they don't have glowing eyes, so technically we're kind of badass for playing like the harder character.
Help me! Don't remove it! I'll die! Don't remove it, I'll die! Oh. Okay.
Okay.
I
made a
panicking for
blue
no reason.
frog.
I'm getting a frog
Do
suit.
you like it?
What is this?
Take a look.
Boing.
It
Woo!
makes it very hard to see.
Wonderful creation, my wizard.
It's kind of mystic over here.
Oh, another wonderful
It's a
creation.
misty area.
I took your book and now I can't grab it, but I made you drop your book.
I was gonna say maybe we double spell book, but I guess
going to
they
make
make it so you can't do that.
Osmando, thank you for the 10 gifted. Wait,
Hey, actually you're hot micing right now, so don't do that.
Let me check.
Wait, I'm gonna go.
You're hot micing?
I'm hot micing, I'm sorry.
You're hot micing? Actually, don't thank that guy. Could you retract that statement?
Okay, sorry.
Actually, no thanks to you, whoever donated that.
No, what if I say thank you in reverse? Oh.
Yeah.
We.
No, not like that. You're gonna have to tell him to fuck off in order to unstrike the thank you did. All right, now say something mean about that guy.
No, I feel bad now.
You have to. It's just
terrible.
part of it. Well, because it's so like streamer etiquette, you know.
Yeah,
Got to
you're
keep it
right.
up. I'm a professional streamer, and hot micing makes me angry. Why are you doing that? What are you doing? Why? What?
I got a whole ass log with.
Dude, there's evil wizards afoot!
Freeze. Fireball.
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 Freeze. Magic missile. God, just let me up here. Let me up here. Can't see shit. Oh yeah. Oh, am I hacking? Hold on. Am I hacking? Am I hacking? My lord. I found out something devious. Hold on. Whoa. I'm starting to see the code, guys. I might be Neo here. I figured out how to get on top of the mountain. The evil mountain.
The sorcerers have captured the forest hills.
Okay, guys. We are on top of the entire game.
Warlocks have captured the crystal caverns.
I don't know to what end.
A sorcerer has been slain. 2 sorcerers
There we
have
go.
been slain.
I just saw someone a second ago. I don't know where they went.
My mic isn't quiet.
Hi, I can barely hear you.
Captured the mushroom
You can't hear
fire.
me.
Your mic's too quiet. What?
My mic's too quiet. Why?
Yeah, your mic's too quiet. Fireball. That might be a teammate. Oh,
Sorcerer has been
oh shit, it was.
How quiet is too quiet?
Fireball.
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 Oh, freeze.
Freeze.
Fireball.
Firelight.
Magic missile.
Fireball.
Fireball.
Magic missile.
Thunderbolt.
Magic missile.
Holy shit. Fireball.
Magic missile. Freeze.
Oh, freeze. Freeze.
Magic missile.
No, freeze.
a warlock has been slain. Two warlocks have been slain.
Where'd that guy die?
The sorcerers have captured the crystal
Humble.
caverns.
I didn't realize you lived! Did I scare you? Hey, what's up?
Yes, you did scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, I didn't realize you lived. Did you kill Percussion?
No, percussion killed me. I killed Jim.
Well, then how are you back? Where'd you kill Jim at? Because he had good stuff on him.
Oh, near the mountain, I think.
Yeah, we're at the mountain.
Sure. Oh.
This is where you killed him.
Yeah, he was,
I'm taking that from you. Whoa!
Why'd you get my staff? Alright. Oh, shit. Freeze.
We just got obliterated. Magic missile.
Fireball.
Fireball.
Magic missile.
Freeze. Magic missile. Might just evade fights for now. I'm scared and I'm hurt. What if I just go back like a pussy? Wouldn't that be cool? I'm back! In the safety of my home.
A warlock has been slain.
Okay. Wait! Wait! I just had a fucking Jimmy Neutron brain blast. If you go back... Hey,
Hello.
if you're hurt, and then... Do you have a sword?
Yes, it's Excalibur.
That's fucking badass. if you're hurt and you hit B and come back, you get full health. It heals you up.
It's great.
But nobody told me that, dude. Nobody told me that. You gotta give me these Linus Tech tips. Hold on, I got this frog.
It's all about, you know, wizardry is just learning.
And I can use that to take. Look at this awesome sword I got. Isn't this cool?
My sword.
This is awesome.
I went on a quest for that.
There you go.
I think I'm ready.
Hey, there's dorks here. We gotta go back in our castle. Go back in the castle.
The castle.
What happened?
Woo!
Misfield.
There's evil people at, well, technically they're good guys, but they're out there.
They're evil to us.
They're evil to us, yeah. I'm gonna make some fucking crystal soup. What does that do?
Nice. Don't know.
I don't know.
Arc blast.
They fireball directly in the ass.
They killed him.
Before I ate my goddamn soup, they did that to me? What the hell?
No.
By the way, would you consider this game friend slop? Is this a friend slop game? I feel like this is like on the cusp of being friend slop.
Anybody over here? Anybody?
Fireball.
Gumball.
No.
Gumball. Gumball.
Fireball.
Fireball.
Please.
Excalibur! They have been slain.
Fireball.
That was badass. Fireball! Burn their corpses!
Fireball. Fireball. Fireball.
Fireball.
I love how like nonchalantly Charborg says fireball. He's like fireball. Fireball. Magic missile. My lord. They're mean and they're coming.
Oh dear.
And I think they have Excalibur now.
No. Surely not. Excalibur is ours. Do they know that?
I don't think they know that.
To the evil wizards outside, are you unaware that we built Excalibur and it is rightfully ours?
I killed Crikey, but I couldn't find it after I killed it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Freeze. Shit. Fireball! Fireball! Why isn't this working? Fartball! Oh, that works? That fucking works? Are you kidding me?
Still under siege, are we?
Fireball.
Please. Oh, that works? Fartball.
Do anything, Craig.
Oh.
Fartball.
Craig, you really gotta remember your magic 101. Wisp is like just a nothing stuff.
Okay, that's good to hear then. I will keep that in mind.
Look at these mortars you're doing.
Freeze.
No! Guys, I'm outside and I have magic things. Dark blast. No, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Wisp. Wisp.
Come at me! It will be your demise!
Fireball.
Come on.
Magic missile.
Freeze.
Freeze. Oh my god. You cooked that man.
Holy shit, what is that?
Dark blast.
You hit me, you doofus!
Yeah, but I killed the other guy. Wisp. Wisp. I'm looking for his goddamn sword. Where'd he die at?
Same here. Fireball.
Fireball. Oh wait, I'm not even holding my spell book out. I'm trying to cast like an idiot. Fireball.
Freeze. Fireball.
Freeze.
Freeze.
Stop. Stop.
Fireball.
Stop.
Magic missile.
Stop. Dark blast.
I can't see shit.
Wait, fuck. The Delaware Hammer? I don't even know who that is. Is that even someone in our group? Wait. Is this swamp up here? Is this where the little mushroom people are? Hello.
Just going for the base.
Oh wait, this isn't the right place. I was looking for the. Yeah, I was looking for the place where I can sell this, trade this for a little page.
Oh, the gnome village, huh?
Yeah, Gnome Village. They kind of live in a place like that, but less swampy, more woodsy.
Good. Yeah, let us upon this mountain and use it to gather our bearings.
Unfortunately, up there it's all foggy. And windy. This shit ain't OSHA approved. We need handrails. We need guidelines. Oh, there's a little man. Fucking magic missile. Obliterate. He got his rock. I could probably trade that with those little freaks down at the village. Probably get something for it. Fireball. 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 Fartball. Stupid fucking game, dude. Literally the dumbest game I've ever seen in my life. Wait, what's that? It's got yanked back. The war. Wait, that's us. Warlock space. Okay. See where this goes. Nowhere.
Holy dog shit. A spam stream.
I fucking forgot I even had text-to-speech on. You scared me. Is someone shooting at me? I'm gonna find these little trader guys. That's the last thing I do. I can't find them on the map. Where am I? Okay, I'm over here. I don't think we own this. But we will. We will. Oh, yes. What are you doing? Magic missile. Fireball. I think I just killed that little gnome, and I felt amazing when I did it. Yep, his little dead body's up there. What?
And thank you so much.
Only one kill, but only 2 deaths.
9 kills. Oh my god.
Curse with that, like at an early age in your entire life, you spin the wrong way when people are talking to you.
I was like, oh, I feel like he's right next to me, and I would turn and be like, where the fuck is everybody?
Dude, Excalibur was crazy.
That was so scary, man.
It scared the fuck out of me.
It's so loud, and dude, just beelining directly at someone and them just panicking and trying every spell in the book to try to stop you.
I wasn't expecting it to lightning bolt people. It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, you guys gotta try Excalibur at some point. It's fucking.
How do you
and
make
you
it?
keep it on death, so.
You have
just
to
hold
go
that.
inside the catacombs and get both pieces of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm a cum-mancer. I don't do that crap.
And which team were you on this time? The winning or the losing one? Just curious.
All right, I just posted the lobby ID in my chat.
Dude, at the very end, Sput was running from me casting cum ball, and then he got stuck in the bog, and he just looks up at me and just goes, "No!" As I'm like landing on him with Excalibur on his face, like the most brutal death possible.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. I am beelining it for. Well, first I'm gonna grab something here. What do we got? Hey, what's this do?
I'm going for Excalibur.
If I make two frogs, what happens if I... I fly.
Oh, whoa!
Fly.
Get in there.
Where the fuck? How?
Get in there, buddy.
I had no idea what was happening. Wait, yeah, you want to help me into this castle?
Wrong. I'm gonna go trade with these little guys. Hold on. I'll be right back.
What do you trade with them?
What's up, Scrimp? Take that torch. Give me something. Give me something good. Oh, a fucking pipe. He gave me pipe.
He gave you
Oh, I can blow a little. There you go, dude. Oh! They blew up my pipe. There it is.
That was me.
Oh, why'd you do that?
Somehow. What did I say? I said hit that shit.
Here. Smoke some of that.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'm gonna go heal up back at base. Look at that. What's that? Log? Like a fucking log soup. Anybody know what log soup does? I did not say he gave me pipe. I said he gave me a pipe. Yeah, he piped me out, guys.
The sorcerers have captured the frog ball.
It won't let me. There we go. That was weird. Oh, skin hardened. Freeze.
Wisp.
Oh, fireball. Wait, that's a teammate. Sorry. Was that a teammate?
No, there's people over there.
Oh, okay. Magic missile.
Gumball.
I'm gonna trade.
Okay. Now we're damn talking. Now, fireball.
No, no, no!
Fuck the gnomes!
These are conscientious objectors. You murdered him.
Magic come. Gumball. What the?
See, you can freeze him.
Stop!
Magic missile.
Gumball.
Damn it! Dude, they just murdered all those innocent villagers, man. Yeah, complete smurficide. Which is kind of badass, to be honest. A little smurficide. Who doesn't like that?
That's fun. Oh shit. Hey buddy.
What's up, Scrimp?
Hey.
Fireball.
Are they up there?
Yeah, I had a run-in up there with someone.
Butt ball.
Yeah, honestly, there wasn't much loot up there anyway.
Fart ball.
I just got a pipe and a wisp, so. Fireball. Fireball.
Fireball. Oh.
Please.
Freeze.
Fart ball.
Fireball. Oh shit! Freeze.
Magic missile.
Oh, that's an NPC.
Fireball.
Fart ball.
NPC to death.
Oh, they're dead.
Uh-oh.
Dude, guys, we gotta start claiming some territory. Look at the map.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go take the mushroom.
Craig, careful with the mushroom biome. There's a trap.
A trap? Oh.
There's a trap on the flag. I fell for it. There's like.
Where at?
There's like spikes, or there were at least. Oh!
Who did it? Shit.
No, how about you just give me the book? I've been over there.
I have a knife of frog.
I no. Listen. Listen. I can show you something really cool. You want me to show you something cool?
Yeah.
You just have to be nice though. You have to be sweet.
Okay.
You promise to be sweet?
If you open the door, I won't stab you with my frog knife.
That's pretty kind. I want to show you. Have you seen the mirror? Come here. Have you seen this guy?
No.
Wait. The mirror.
Yes.
The mirror. Yes. Oh.
Hello.
Hello,
How are you?
mirror. How are you? Ask him a question.
Who's the fairest of them all?
Sorcerer has been slain.
What? You told me no.
He said yes. He did say no.
I guess it's only yes or no's. Or now you ask something.
Hey, can you hear me? He can hear me. Okay.
I can hear you. Hi. Yeah.
Oh, he says he can't hear you. Are we cool? Are the warlocks cooler than the wizards? Mirror, are the warlocks cooler than the wizards? He said yes.
No.
He said yes. He's saying
Am I
yes.
about to stab these guys with my frog knife?
No, you shouldn't do that. He wouldn't.
Yeah, he's no.
No. He
Hey,
said no.
is this guy gonna get the fuck out of our castle? No, he just walked away. That was evil. Hold on. Come back. Mirror. Mirror. No. Are wizards kind of dorks? Are wizards dorks? Oh, Jesus Christ. You don't give me any of the good answers. You suck.
Mirror, should I stab these guys with the frog knife? I really want to.
No, can't keep asking him that. He's already given you his answer.
Yeah, he already answered you, dude.
Maybe he'll ask.
Yeah, he already said.
Ah, fine. Okay, how about this? Mirror, should I give these warlocks my frog knife?
He's walked away.
I have a real question.
Okay.
Yeah, ask him if the wizards are compensating by having that big fucking hat.
Mirror. Should Kraken just put his spellbook on the ground for me?
He's not giving an inch.
Damn. The wizard or the mirror of no fun.
Flag so they can't respawn.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. But we're kind of at an impasse. The mirror's not really letting us do anything cool.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? We're fucking with the mirror.
Hey, we're talking to the mirror.
What
You
is
wanna talk to
that?
the mirror?
What's that? What you got?
Ask him a question.
Are these guys chill? Are they cool?
Let's see if I can trade something. Might be something in here. I think they massacred most of like the little elf guys. Hey. Sorry about all that fighting earlier. You guys okay?
A warlock has been slain.
I'll trade this.
2 warlocks.
Give me something good. Oh. It just gave me ultra good stuff.
Look, we're offering you apology.
Take this, man.
Here.
That seems good. I like that. What does it do? Hey, what the fuck? No.
Okay.
Dark Blast.
Okay, all right.
Knife.
Whoa, fireball.
Ah! Fireball!
It wasn't very funny, okay?
No, it's not working! Freeze! Why? Dude, I feel like none of my spells work when I say them. Is it because I say like fireball? I need to just be fireball. I need to talk like I'm doing an infomercial. Fireball. Freeze. Wormhole. Magic missile. You know, talk like one of those pronunciation guides. Oh, did you get my little piece of paper I dropped?
Yeah, what's this do?
It's a dark blast. Well, get away from our shit. Whoever's in here, get out of here. Freeze.
Me? Why?
Get out of here.
Nice.
I'm gonna fireball.
What are you doing in our house?
Eviscerate.
Knife.
Freeze.
Frog knife.
Oh, fireball.
Shit.
Frog knife.
Freeze.
Okay, I killed him. No, there's like an evil guy in here. Ah!
Oh, fireball.
No! Magic missile.
It's okay, he's dead.
Oh, okay. Close this damn gate.
I don't know what the hell.
Did he drop anything cool?
What was he doing in here, man? That was crazy.
I don't know.
No, it's freaky. Oh,
It's freaking me out.
Hey, someone's trying to. Oh, you said freaking and it froze. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Wait, you could use that. Hold on.
oh shit.
Lisa, you're freaking me out. Freaking. Here you go.
Dude, I'm freaking scared.
Dude, you hold on.
Fireball.
No!
Freaking scared.
Magic missile.
You.
Wait, I'm not even using magic missile. Magic missile.
Magic missile.
Fireball.
Fireball.
Oh,
Yes.
it's got like a triple. Damn it.
Where's my damn frog knife?
How did he sneak back in? If you fuckers don't close that portcullis one more time.
It wasn't my fault.
Hit B. Let's go back in there. Fireball.
Give me back my frog knife.
Freeze.
That's all I want. I'll leave. I'll leave if you give me the frog knife. Or fine.
Magic
Fireball.
missile.
Wait, what are you
Magic
asking?
missile.
Oh shit.
Oh, my frog knife.
Freeze.
Freeze.
Don't
Fireball.
freaking do it, dude.
Fireball.
Don't freaking do it.
Magic missile.
Freeze.
Fireball.
Okay, let's close this stupid gate.
But then they come. Yeah, let's close it.
Okay,
You're
let's
right.
come to an understanding here. Oh.
There we go.
I don't know where his thing went. It's around somewhere. What does this do if I do these two? Ooh. There's another evil guy outside. Leave us alone.
Give me back my frog knife.
How do you keep coming back so quickly?
I want my frog knife and I'll leave.
No, you won't, because last time you said that you shot me in the head.
Yeah, it's because you didn't give me my frog knife.
Fireball.
You.
Dude, you.
No, you.
No, you, dude. For the last time, fucking you.
Ha! I killed him with his own frog knife! No!
Yes.
That's evil as shit, dude.
Dude, that was fucking epic and evil.
And now he knows, unfortunately, that we still have it.
Oh, he can come back for it.
What does this do? This like, it's like a staff with mushrooms. This isn't the bouncy staff.
Yeah, what is that?
Can you bounce on it?
Let me see if I can bounce on it.
Can you bounce on it?
that? Oh my fucking god!
Wait,
Hey, you can bounce on it.
Dude, I
Wait,
can bounce
come
on
here,
it. Hold
come
out
here.
your, hold
Like,
out your
get
stick.
Yo, bounce on it.
I'm gonna bounce
hold
on
out the stick
it.
and you bounce on it, yeah. Yes! Wow. This is awesome.
Is it broken?
Can I jump on it from while you're going straight up, or just hold it out? Let me see if I can jump on it. Now, whoa, whoa.
Uh-oh. I'm killing all my homies. My bad. We need to, make sure we don't leave these out there.
Yeah,
Those are bad news.
That was fun, dude.
Yeah, these are cool.
I love bouncing on it.
Hey, we should put these here for, like, strategic leaving.
Ooh, that's so smart, dude. So we can actually
That way, if they're at the gate, we can bounce on them.
Yeah, we can bounce on them.
They hate that when we bounce on them.
Dude, especially the way that we do it.
Yeah.
The way that we do it, they're gonna be scared.
Crazy style.
Crazy
And without
style
remorse. Wait, look at this little freak. Give us our shit.
Hey, man. Oh, you killed the baby. What is that? Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck. Close it, close it, close it. Let's bounce on it.
And we're bouncing on it.
And I'm going to bounce on it. Dude, why did that thing do fireball? It was a little goblin that did fireball.
Did it?
Fireball. Dude,
oh,
the goblins are kind
magic missile. Fireball. Freeze. Fireball. Oh, I got him with that.
Oh, it's got a little more arc
Freeze.
to it than I thought.
Fireball.
Fired by ball. Got a little more.
Do they drop anything when you kill them?
Only one way to find out. You want to go? I'll go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go look at it.
Oh, they got little crystals. They drop crystals.
This guy that we obliterated over here. He didn't drop anything.
He dropped nothing, not a new.
I'm gonna trade, just so Kraken never gets it back. I'm gonna trade his knife. Here you go, dude.
Really good. He's do that out of spite. I like that.
No! No!
Oh.
I'm gonna kill all the knobs! Freeze!
Fireball.
No trading for you, mister. Fireball.
Oh. Oh.
Freeze.
Just left his ass. That was weak of me, I know, but I play the long con. I must protect the base at all costs. Stop dropping off these fucking mushrooms, dude. That's evil. They can use those to get in. Let's see what a crystal and a mushroom does. It creates some sort of... Hey, hold still. Okay. Okay. Okay, now you use it on me. And we will become... Ah, yes. We are evil. Evil. Okay, wait, can I have my shrink ray back?
Of course, of course, of course.
Sweet. All right, let's go do nefarious things. Hey, who's breaking in?
Fireball! Freeze. That's right, little man. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna eat your castle. I don't know why. What the hell do you have? What is that? What is that little thing?
Come here! Come here!
Fireball.
I've shrunketh you! I made him tiny for 1 second. Dude, this recalling thing is huge.
I'm huge again.
Me when I take a Viagra?
I'm huge again.
Where did my... Wait, where'd my thing go?
Me when I lose my thing.
Yeah. Me when I don't take a Viagra. Where'd my thing go?
Where'd my thing go? Where'd my thing go?
Did you get my shrink ray?
No, I think they stole it.
No!
I know. Me when I'm having sex and I have the object permanence of a child. Where'd my thing go?
Yeah.
I can't even use my spells no more.
Why not?
So I'm small. Oh, wait, I'm not small anymore?
Now you're big.
Oh, shit!
Get sniped! Fireball.
Look is bigger than me. Fireball!
Come, missile. Magic, come. Freeze.
A warlock has been slain. A sorcerer has been slain.
Come on. I don't know where the fuck he is. Fuck him.
Fireball.
Motherfucker. You think that's gonna stop me, pal?
Fireball.
Starting. Yeah? Fireball. God damn it.
A warlock has been
Fireball.
Freeze.
Freeze. What are you doing here? Magic missile? Fireball! Fireball! Fuck! He one hit me with a fireball! That's fine. It's fine. Wait. Okay, so that explains how they're getting to our base so quick.
Oh, I just said nice. Don't say nice because it counts as ice.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, and ice counts as the. Okay.
And don't say cheese because it counts as freeze.
Oh,
Or please.
Very good call. A very good haul. Please.
Oh, please don't hurt me.
Hey,
Oh, fuck.
please?
Sorry, let me warm you up.
Hello, my friends. Hello. Join the shrunken gang.
Oh my god. Poor dude.
Where's my goddamn shrink ray?
Oh, I think I became small, didn't I?
Yeah, he hit you with the shrink ray.
It's up here. I see it. Oh, he has two of them.
Bring him up.
Bring the shrink rays up.
I can't. I'm all shrunk. I'm going to hit B. I'm going back to the house.
Okay.
Oh, look how tiny you guys are. Can I shrink this guy? Can I make some shrink soup? No, I guess I can. What?
What the hell? Fireball. Oh, they're saying hi. I'm
hot. I just be nice.
Come, missile. Oh, Lisa, I'm so.
You're so mean.
Come, missile. Magic, come.
Hello. Hi. Excuse the right.
Come, ball.
The sorcerer.
Come ball.
Come
ball.
I shrunk his penis as he died, and now he has a micro. He will respawn with a micro.
Now I have a micro penis.
Oh, he had a torn page on him. What do you have?
Ooh, nice.
Blink. Hey, by the way, somebody grab this. Ray of Shrink right here.
You take it.
And now let's go rush this person outside and shrink them.
You want me to shrink you too?
Wait, I think they have a thing out here. Hold on.
They got a thing?
Freeze. There we go. Destroyed their little...
Warlocks have captured the sorcerer's base.
Oh shit, we got the sorcerer's base. Look at us.
Yeah, we're doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Yippee!
Oh, this guy's just waiting for me to bounce on it.
Aw, I know what that's like.
Same. I'm bouncing on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he likes that.
This guy's asking for it.
He loves that, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not a victim blamer, but this guy's asking me to bounce on him.
He's
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Hey, somebody's trying to freeze us while we're trying to
I'm gonna
bounce on it.
you. Oh! Your little thing. You want to be cured small, Sam?
I want to be small too.
No! You stupid bitch. Come over here. I'm going to shrink you up.
No, you're not, motherfucker. What's it? Goodbye,
You son of a
bitch. Fireball.
Fireball.
Freeze.
Fireball. Fireball.
Fireball.
The warlocks had captured the mushroom biome.
I finally catch the biggest forehead on YT.
We're not on YouTube. We're on fucking Twitch, dummy. No! That brought me nowhere. No!
Dynamite, whatever this is.
I'm gonna bounce on it. Get shrunk, bitch. Blink! Where? What are you doing with me? He just drowned me somehow. I don't know what he did. He like made me walk out into the wilderness, out into the water. Shit. God, I had a lot of stuff on me too. Damn.
Freaking good at magic. Yeah, I'm in your walls, bitch.
Fireball.
I'm here
Freeze. Magic missile. Magic missile. Fireball? Oh, I killed him. What the hell are you doing? Get away from me. You killed me with that thing. I lost so many good items out there in the water.
I'm sorry, I just have to keep using it. It's all I have.
Magic missile. What is that?
Freeze.
Ah! That little golem. That little golem was like up my ass. Oh, he shoots things. He like does like a little shotgun. Okay. We're still learning.
I've casted my purple spell upon you.
Dude, I've been purpled.
Oh, look at you hate my evil purple.
Fireball?
Fireball.
Ah! Freeze!
No.
Hello.
Hello.
Fireball.
Nope.
Blast activate. That was a crazy
Stop purpling me.
Fireball. Direct hit. Freeze! Fireball!
What's happening? Oh shit!
You are insane with those.
Freeze! No, you don't use it. That's mine. Fireball!
Magic up.
Fireball!
Magic up. Shit.
Fuck. I think they might have actually just won it there. Hold on.
Freeze.
No, they never took it. Wait. Which means if I quickly start respawning to base! Fireball! Fireball! Stupid fucking game.
Dark blast.
Gun missile.
Magic missile.
Fireball.
Fireball. I heard fucking Lisa over there with her thumb up her ass, just sitting there doing nothing by the mushrooms.
How dare you mess with a little guy like me? Fireball!
You're not little anymore, bro. Wake up. You grew up. Fireball.
Warlocks
Doesn't she see? Wait, hold on. Let me move my fat head.
Tragic.
Directly under my head, there's a skull.
Back to base.
Do you see the little skull? Yeah, that means she needs to go get the base.
What's going on over here?
After that. The flag.
Oh, fireball!
Wait.
Fireball.
Freeze!
I don't trust her wizardry.
Fireball. Freeze.
Freeze!
A sorcerer has been slain.
Woo! Fireball!
Die! Die!
Freeze!
All she had to do was take that flag, man. What the hell?
It's a pheasant dancing baby. Ugh. Ugh.
That little golem is cool. My game crash? Absolutely crashed.
And your spells keep getting stronger the more you have.
Oh, okay.
So by the end, we were like one-shotting people with fireballs.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But we spent a lot of time, I think, just crafting today, and I think it's so fucking funny. There's so many goofy items.
Yeah, dude, I saw Papa flying around like Mary Poppins with a balloon. It was so funny.
Craig, and you stabbing Lisa while you're both on the shrink ray was fucking hysterical.
Dude, yeah, seeing this tiny wizard just like blood coming out of their gut, and they're like, they're just like screeching is
so funny. Can I re-get the lobby code? I got kicked.
Yeah.
I think my game just full ass crashed.
Yeah,
that's what happened to him too.
Mine was just donezo.
Everyone blew up.
Yeah, I haven't. It's a new lobby code now, so something must have happened.
Oh wait, let me
weird.
Turn off my.
May I go
so people
tinkle?
don't see it. No.
No.
Okay, I will.
I'm gonna go
try
cast
again.
piss. I'll be right back.
I'm actually gonna go do a little bathroom break too.
Yeah, I want to get a Diet
Cast
Coke.
evil piss.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, you got 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll be right
This
back
game
too.
is so fucking fun.
Dude, I.
What's up, pimps? How you guys doing? You guys having a good night? I can't really talk to you guys because this is like an open mic game. So if I start yakking like towards you, then everybody hears it. Yeah. Who would thought that I'd catch a General Sam stream over Poobs now? Dude, what the fuck? Right? I told him he needs to lock the fuck in. He's I don't know what he's doing. You know what it is? Guys, this is sad. I don't want to say it. But this man's in love, okay? It's sickening. It's getting in the way of his work life. He's like in high school when your friend gets a girlfriend and all of a sudden they stop hanging out. But like imagine that, but Poob is working and then he got a girlfriend and now he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna hang out with her because I like her so much. I'm like, well, you still have to like pay bills and stuff. So you don't stream as much as you should. It is good though to see him head over heels for somebody. It's actually good to see anybody doing that, to be honest. Especially the older you get. Because that stuff is rare. It's the novelty of a relationship is very it's something that usually is only like a young person's game, you know what I mean? What's this game about? Well, it's kind of like a game about like being an evil wizard, and when you shoot, if you want to shoot a spell, you have to actually physically say the name of the spell, and there's like voice detection. And so if you want to shoot a fireball, you have to say fireball. Hold on, they're all unmuted waiting for me.
Why? When?
In my D&D, when I'm DMing, the clothes do not teleport.
And guess what? You're naked.
Yeah. Oh my god, can you imagine like rule 1 or like, you know, session 0, everyone like gets the things out of the way they're not comfortable with. They're like the rules of the game. And Sharpwork's like, rule number 1, if you teleport, your clothes are not staying on. Your ass is naked.
You're naked and everyone sees it and they will point and laugh. Okay,
I am back, by the way. You're back.
Okay,
I'm back, but I'm like just talking to my chat.
Okay, you cool if we start it?
Yeah, you can start it. I'm ready. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Now I can't talk to my chat because you started it. Fuck!
Oh, sorry.
It's fine. I was just going to scream at one person and call them stupid. Oh, I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. What we got in here?
Yeah, you did.
Oh my god, we got the freaking shit stuff.
Wait, what happens when you do crystal and log?
You make something freaking awesome, I bet. Oh, that's fucking inappropriate, dude. That's inappropriate as hell.
I'm going to kill that B word when I see her.
Yeah, dude, use whatever you make here to execute them.
Yeah, be right back. Make sure to close this door when we leave, dude. This is our biggest main defense.
Copy that. You sound like my freaking mom, not gonna lie.
Hey, I had to tell my wife and kids the same thing. I'm like, will you fucking close and lock the door?
It's our last line of defense. People keep spawn camping us.
Well, no, my wife's like, well, I feel safe when you're around. I'm like, yeah, but if someone breaks in, I have to fight them. I don't want to fight them, okay? I don't want to fight nobody.
You don't think you could take an intruder?
No, I would get folded like, I'm a fucking nerd. I'm a nerd for a living. I'm at my computer all day.
This is so funny coming from a warlock's voice. I'm a nerd for a fucking living.
I'm a fucking dork. I'm a magic dork. No, I would get, yeah, honestly, I'd be like that guy from World War Z. Even if I had a gun, like, I feel like I would accidentally shoot myself in the face trying to kill somebody.
I mean, I think that's smart.
You want to hit up the fire tower with me?
Let's hit up the fire tower. Also, be careful. There's enemy wizards in here, and they will hunt you to the ends of the earth.
Fireball!
Oh!
I'll pick you up, friend. Don't worry.
Please be careful.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Now I'm burning myself! I'm trying to help, and I'm making it worse. No!
Let's get the mine.
They're assaulting the lava castle!
Skills. That levitator thing.
Coming for you.
What the hell? Magic missile.
Stop! No, fireball.
What? What do you mean no? And then you kill me?
Where'd they go?
Stop. No. Then hits me with a fireball.
Hello.
Fucker did the exact same thing I was doing. Okay, hold on. Let me actually... I'm going to be a benefit to the team in a way that I've never been before. I'm going to capture some objectives. I hear Lisa over there somewhere. Dork. Fuck. You know what? I'm just gonna hit the old recall button. Okay. This is tech that they don't know of yet. This is my one thing that I can do that I think they don't know about. And I don't know if it's good. But I'm pretty sure it gives me an advantage. No! Fireball! Ah, fuck you!
Fireball.
No! You saw me up there? No! Sweet. Okay. They already fucking retook that mountain. God damn it. I was hoping the wind would blow them off. Do the same tech I was just doing. Sam streaming when I'm crossfaded as shit. Lightning in a bottle type moment. Hell yeah, king. Yeah, sorry I'm not like more engaged with the chat because like there's other people here, so I can't like I can't talk too much. Hey, mind if I take this? Hey. That's right, bitch. Did that motherfucking Misty Mountain. Fart ball. Freeze. Fireball. Fireball. You know what? I'm gonna take that little bitch back. Magic missile! Fireball!
Let's close the door, man.
I was grabbing this stuff and putting it inside the base.
Okay.
Hey, Scrimps, they took our magic mushroom kingdom.
No, I love that place.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
It was that evil wizard Craig. You know him?
Well, he's on our side, I think.
Fuck that guy.
There's no way he's on our side. He was just hitting me with magic missiles.
He wouldn't do that to you unless
You got a little piece of paper?
pure Evil. I have a little piece of paper. I'm trying to decipher it.
It says
I'm not sure
whisp.
what it says whisp.
Whisp.
What's wisp do?
It makes a whisp.
Does that hurt people? Or is it just go to straight line?
I think
What
it
does
just
do?
kind of, I think it just like goes towards someone and goes like, hey, they're right here.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Oh, someone's casting a fireball.
Freeze. I have to say this shit like a news prompter or something, a news telecaster.
Wisp.
Whisp. Are you evil or? Oh wait, yeah, you're like a regular.
I'm chill.
Are you chill?
Dude, I don't think he's fucking chill.
Tell me, are you chill with the wizard?
So chill right now. Look.
Dude,
What's up?
he does seem kind of chill.
He's chill. You can tell. Fireball. Hoping that won't rain down on them. They're trying to take this.
Oh yeah.
What the hell? He came up behind me.
Fireball.
All right.
Open the door.
I'm scared too. Are you a homie?
Sword. I think they have the sword.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna open it.
Thunderbolt. Fireball.
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 Fuck!
Freeze. Fireball.
Damn it.
Fireball. Thunderbolt.
Come on.
What the fuck was that?
Come on.
Fireball.
Fireball.
Ooh!
Was that my buddy?
Fireball.
I'm sorry.
Ow!
Hey, who else here?
Are you on my team? There's too much. There's too much smoke. They're lockpicking us.
No, I'm not. Mind your own stupid business. Oh!
Fireball. You stupid bitch. That's what you get.
Yeah, that's what you get. You know.
Damn it. The percussion got me.
Put that little guy over there. See what happens.
Hold on.
Oh, when you.
I know for a fact. No! Oh, are you a bad person? Oh no, you're.
I think.
Oh!
Fireball!
What the hell? Is she spawn camping? She's just waiting on the beach? Are you spawn camping? Oh, no, she's not. Okay. Guess I'll go back. The hell was that? Spawn right next to her.
Like show where like powerful items are.
Yeah, once you pick them up, I feel like it'd be nice to be like try to chase them back down.
Yeah.
Dude, who's trying to nuke us from orbit? What the hell's happening? Are these meteor showers?
They're coming from the top of the mountain.
Oh, that's crazy.
Aren't they?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Maybe. No, they don't have claim to the mountain. I feel like if they were shooting it from the mountain,
Fireball.
One up there. Fireball.
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 We'll tear that shit down.
Dude.
Did we ever recover that sword? One of these guys had like Excalibur.
Dude, we gotta get that.
He died right here. I think it's gone forever now.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
No, I think when you die with the Excalibur, you still keep it on your person.
Check this out. You can just climb up the side.
No fucking way.
Yeah, man. This is hacks.
Dude, this is hacks. They should have just done this shit in Lord of the Rings. My God.
They should have dissolved the ring in acid. That's what I would have done.
That's what I would have done, yeah.
I would have been an alchemist, and I would have simply dissolved it with acid of some sort and drank it.
Why didn't they just eat the ring? If they were so worried about somebody taking it, and then sift through their stool every couple of days, and then re-eat the ring.
Oh! Wait, doesn't that ring, like, change size depending on who's trying to put it on? I mean, so you could use it as like a cock ring. You could put it on your penis. Nobody would know you're wearing it.
I mean, it really just depends on if it would fit, I guess.
No, I think it always fits. I think that's the part of the ring.
You're right. It does always fit.
It always fits.
The size, the wearer.
Yeah.
That's gonna be an awesome thing.
And so for me, it would look like a little spaghetti-o.
Yeah, or a Cheerio perhaps. One of the two.
Yo! Thunder just struck this tall mountain!
Fireball.
Fuck.
Holy shit!
Did you say decapitate?
Holy shit! Fireball.
Oh wait, I think they have this. I'm gonna grab it. Fireball. Fireball.
Well, you should get away from him. Ow, who did that?
Magic missile.
Freeze.
Fireball. Freeze. Magic missile. Oh, well, we killed each other. I guess that's worth it. It's not worth it. I didn't get the thing. I think there's 2 of them and only 1 of me. All right, who has this Mushroom Kingdom? They do. I fucking missed. God damn it. And I hurt myself big time. Oh. Fireball.
Do you have a frog?
No, I don't. Hey, do you have a frog?
No, I do not. We do have a piece of wood right there. Wait, give me a piece of wood. I'll go trade it with the people, and we'll see if we get a frog.
Basically, we're trying to steal the Excalibur sword from Spud, so,
Oh, okay. Well, let's,
only if you die with it, you get to keep it. Like, you don't drop it.
Okay, how do we get over to the trading village? Lead the way.
It is this way.
How do you know? Wait, like, where's it at?
I think it's the one, see on the, oh wait, no, that's the mausoleum. I actually don't know which one it is on the map.
Oh, wait, it's on the other side of the mountain, isn't it? It's over here?
Wait, I think it's where Kraken currently is. Is that where you're headed?
No, Kraken's in the swamp, I think.
I thought this, oh no, yeah, you're right. I'll follow you, because I have no fucking clue.
I don't either. Shut up. Oh, here we go. It is where Kraken is. No, it's not.
No, that's a swamp. Kraken! Oh, he teleported home now.
Watch out for that big frog.
Shit, good call. Freeze.
There's a bunch of them. Freeze. Ooh.
Freeze. I missed again. Does it say right over here? No, that's their base.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, dude, we gotta get. Oh wait, no, he used frost.
Hmm.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? Hey, where's the trader guys at?
What?
The trader guy. The
The
Smurf Village.
Good question. I think that there's a chance that can't spawn. I don't think it's here.
I haven't seen it anywhere.
I don't think so. I'm sorry.
We really
about that
need
guy.
a frog.
He's not really
He's
well
loud as
trained.
hell.
Does that guy have a frog?
Hey, chill. Freeze.
There's a rock. I'm gonna check if there's a frog inside. Give me 1 sec.
Magic
Freaking
missile.
beats the crap out of me, dude. Freeze. Dude.
Freeze. Ow. Fireball.
Guys, gotta say, it's your lucky day.
Oh yeah?
Frog? Oh my god.
There you
Thank
go,
you,
buddy.
dude.
Oh fuck.
I'm really sorry about him.
All right, let's go hide behind this tree and do a magic trick.
All right.
No! Fireball.
Freeze.
Magic missile.
Freeze.
Magic missile.
Get a page.
Magic missile.
Nice.
Okay, just don't work for me. I don't care.
I'm showing the portcullis.
Alright, we got our frog, dude. Yeah. That wood?
Yo,
Yeah,
are you
ready?
taking The frog spear?
Yeah, we're trying to take the sword.
Frog spear. There it is.
Yeah. It's right there.
That's gonna be so good. That's gonna be so good. That's gonna be so good.
I died with one out here too.
Oh, it's... I don't know.
Got it.
Oh, there
I
they
got
come. Nice,
Okay.
nice, nice, nice. Come back.
Fireball.
What the hell?
Freeze.
Freeze.
I'm actually gonna chill out for a second.
Freeze.
Decapitate.
Fireball.
Jesus.
Let's move. Let's move.
Fireball.
Go, 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 go.
Fireball.
Freeze.
Freeze.
Freeze ball.
Fireball!
Fireball.
Fuck!
Fireball.
Oh! You helped me rocket jump! Thanks, nerd! Alright, hold on. Reset voice detection.
Freeze. Fireball.
Fuck. Fireball.
You can't really get closer.
Freeze.
Worm. Wormhole.
Freeze.
Magic missile.
Freeze.
Fireball.
Magic missile.
Fireball.
Magic missile.
Where is he?
Magic missile.
Decapitate.
Oh! Is that an actual thing that he uses decapitate? Oh wait, he's using that fucking sword. Okay. I think we just lost it there.
Did we do it?
It's
Did we
sad.
fucking do it?
I think we almost got it.
There can only be one left, I think. Oh my god.
Where it could be.
There is
the
no
last
trade
one.
village?
We got
I'm not gonna
Craig.
bungle this time.
Okay.
We got Butt Chug. Who's left?
Jim's dead too, I think.
Freeze.
He's here. Freeze.
Decapitate.
That fucking sword is bullshit.
Oh, that's funny. Why isn't the flag going back up?
Okay, we got Butt Chug, Craig, Kraken. So yeah, it must be Jim.
Why isn't the flag?
After their base, though. What if I do that?
Okay, let's see what Jim does.
That can draw them to me. That might not be the best move, but it's gonna be what I do.
Pretty Jumbles is the new top clipper at 77 views.
It's not gonna be the best move, but it's gonna
Is
be
that
exactly
something?
what I
Just
I
to be
do.
a top clipper.
Oh.
This is our savior.
Me.
This
No.
fucking guy.
No, 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 no.
This is the guy that we're relying on.
Oh, fuck me, dude. Get me out of the goo. Get me out of this damn goo.
No, I don't have high hopes.
Oh fuck! I can't end like this. Okay. We have to be really quiet. We have to be really quiet because they're just fucking around. We're fine. We're fine.
Just got a sext message.
They're just having fun.
Do you want a bed? Yeah. Okay. Let's do,
Oh, hey guys. No, dude. Hey guys. I'm just coming over to say hi.
Oh, are you gonna capture stuff? Please don't.
No, I'm not gonna capture anything. I just want to come over and say hi.
Yes, sorry. Well, I'm gonna be early if you come in, so.
Okay.
There you go. Oh, I'm back to normal, I think.
What a day! What a day!
3.
Yo.
Dude,
awesome.
we meticulously crafted this frog spear to pull that sword out of your hand, and then percussion sniped me with a freeze right before I got to you.
No. That would have been incredible
Dude,
if you pulled that off.
I used it on you, and it made contact, but it didn't take the sword out of your hand, and I was so upset.
Yeah, I was also upset because we froze Lisa, and then I used it on the eyes thinking it would still work, but that didn't work either.
Yeah,
It was such a good plan.
Specific hitbox.
Every
Yeah.
time
That was
I've
a good
like
plan.
grabbed
It was
with
such a
the
good plan.
spear, you gotta like hold the tongue out, like just hold click, and then kind of like slap them around with it, and then.
Oh, maybe that. Yeah, I think I was just clicking probably.
Even with Excalibur, it's hard to hit people. You really have to click like several times.
Is the spell really decapitate?
No, I was just screaming that.
Because I was like, that's fucked up. It's so upsetting.
Dude, at one point I killed Sput, and then I was looking around his body for the sword for it to drop. And then he came back and I was like, oh, Sput, the sword didn't drop. I think it glitched and it deleted. And he was like, oh, really? Let me come see. And then it turns out you just don't drop the sword. Then he started fucking decapitate.
Dude, so fucked.
That was
This
a
is a
really
lot
good
of fun, though.
Thank you for the invite. I had a fucking blast.
Yeah, this was great.
So
That
fun.
amazing.
So
I
fun.
can't wait to see this get some like updates and like new spells and shit. This will be great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you all for coming.
Yeah,
GG.
it's been a
Putting
lot
Oh,
together,
yeah,
of
thanks
Lisa.
for letting me play. That's so fun.
All right, well, guys,
Good
I'll
night.
see
God
you
bless.
later.
We wrapping
night.
it up.
God bless.
Good
See you
night.
later.
Bye bye.
See you
Bye-bye.
later.
All right, bye.
Oh, everybody's disappearing. Like they're all dying flies.
Yeah, I was gonna leave, but it feels like a battle royale now, so I kind of want to be the last one here.
So I guess by everybody leaving, that means we're not playing anymore. Okay.
Oh yeah, I think.
Okay, that's fine.
I think Spot earlier saying he was down. I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't verbalize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
I
wanna
no,
play
I got
Text?
my ass kicked that entire time. That was like some of the most like I'm not known for being good at anything, but that was humiliating the amount of times I would be like staring at the back of a wizard. I would have them dead to rights, and then they would just turn around and blow me up in one
Yeah,
hit.
same here, dude. Like when you get an awesome kill, it feels so good, but then to be fireball, and get nowhere close is so humiliating.
Yeah.
I'm down to play this again though at some point if you guys want to. It's really fun.
Oh, it is a pretty good. My family just got back from the beach, so I think I'm gonna call it quits and go up there and frolic around with them.
All right,
Good
cool.
idea.
I'll see you guys later.
See
See you guys
ya.
later.
Bye.
You sound so depressed.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lied. I'm just gonna go kill myself. I'm not actually gonna go hang out with my family. They're gonna find me swinging from the ceiling fan down here. Fucking obliterated, dude. It was embarrassing.
The whole three members of your blood. That's fucking crazy.
They'd probably be better off, to be honest.
Oh my
They're
God.
probably more well adjusted if I wasn't around.
Oh shit.
All right. Anyways, thanks for the invite. I'm out.
Of course. See you later.
See ya. Oh shit. Dude, actually, I sat there and had so much like, I don't want to say anxiety, but apprehension to like start the stream. And then once I started it, I realized I should stream like a single player thing again. Streaming Oblivion was so much fucking fun. I should find another single player game and stream it. Do you guys remember that game Exanima? It's like the top-down physics dungeon crawler. There's like a hell mode on it. And the hell mode is, I think it randomizes everything and makes it more difficult. I was thinking about streaming that. Or Abiotic Factory, I could do that. New Zomboid server for new update. Okay. Oh yeah, I do have some stuff to share. We have another public DayZ server coming up. I've had those Scottish dudes toiling away working on that that drone delivery system. We're on a smaller map. So the people density is going to be much higher. The economy is completely changed so that there's no ghillies, there's no snipers. It's mostly pistols, shotguns, hand to hand. Like you're not going to get shot from a bush every 2 seconds like you were. It's going to be like a meat-based economy, I think. It should be better. Should be better. And the bicycles are of course going to be there. Also, you know how like we've been kind of tinkering with it, trying to figure out like how you're going to exploit it, because it's going to get exploited. But there is, with DayZ, there's the problem of loot spawns. There's never any fucking loot. It pisses me off. It's like the worst game to just sit there and farm or try to get loot. So we found this system that somebody made. It's just a mod where instead of going into a building and finding loot on the ground, you go into a building and you find containers, and then you search the containers, and when you search it, it generates loot randomly based on the type of building you're in. And so then once you leave that room, somebody else can come in and search the same place and get some loot. You yourself can't research the same stuff over and over again. But that way, you know, typically when a bunch of people spawn in an area, they'll completely gut an area of the map of all loot. And then it sucks because I think to respawn, you need a server restart, or you need people to be like 1,000 meters away or something. And that's just not going to happen if it's near the spawn area. So this system should make it so that it doesn't matter if someone just walked through a house, you should be able to come through and at least get something. So I think we kind of have that going right now. And I think it should come out next week unless something weird happens. But for DayZ or Project Zomboid? No, this is for DayZ. Project Zomboid, I'm desperately waiting for that new update to get multiplayer, because dude, I'm hitting Project Zomboid. The second that comes out, I'm hitting it. That shit rocks. I actually really do enjoy Zomboid. And it's funny. It's just a funny game. That's such a good game to have people with. Do like a public server on. But what else do I got for you? Yeah, that's basically it. Let me quit this game. Move this stupid thing over here. Yeah. Been so excited for Build 42. Yeah, the Zomboid always had that problem with like you would kind of play it until you like looted an area of all the canned food. And then what the fuck are you supposed to do? Like there's and like once you clear out the zombies, there's kind of not much to do. And so then you end up like kind of roaming. You might go to like Louisville or something, but there wasn't much of an end game. And I think with Build 42, they added like farming and fishing and like cattle and stuff. And I think you can have like more of a, what is that called? like a homestead, which will be fun. Why does your old streams disappear on Twitch? That's how Twitch is, dude. I think after 30 days they disappear. It's because people know life this platform, and they'll stream like 60 hours a week, and Twitch doesn't want to keep all that shit up forever. So after a month, I think they get rid of them. So if I haven't streamed in a month, you'll come to Twitch and it'll be completely empty. It's depressing. Honestly, think about from like Twitch's perspective, the amount of people that just sit there and like they just stream all the time and they have no viewers. Like, to store all their shit, it costs the same as storing like XQC's streams. And so from like a business standpoint, the 1% of streamers are like the ad revenue gained from their streams is really paying for like the 99% of people that are just streaming to nobody. It's kind of freaked up. I'm just saying, if I was Twitch, I'd be figuring out how to knock off some of those fucking people that have no viewers. I know it's a horrible thing to say, but like, if I was them, I'm not them, thankfully, but if I was them, I would probably just like, if someone's streaming with no viewers, I would do like a little heads up, like a heads up thing on their stream that says, nobody's watching this. You should give up. You should give up and not chase your dreams, because you're taking a lot of storage space and it's pissing us off. You're very expensive. Yeah, just turn their stream off. The CEO just comes up and goes like, you need to stop. You need to fucking stop. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I think for those of you that are looking to start like streaming and want to be big on Twitch, I don't think the way is to get big on Twitch first. I think it's very hard to break out of the no viewer area. I think you'd be better. I mean, you can stream it if you want, but I think you'd be much better off like posting stuff to TikTok or YouTube or something. And then once you get an audience, then you transition to a woman because they get more viewers, and then you start streaming on Twitch. Then you transition over to Twitch. I should get one of those. Have you seen those big silicone tits that people wear? There's that substitute teacher that was wearing those giant silicone tits, and she got in trouble because she was like, it's just like gender affirming. I shouldn't get in trouble for these. But like the boobs that she picked were fucking massive. They were huge. I should get some of those and stream with them, because having cleavage brings in more viewers. Not that I want to have big breasts. I already got breasts myself. Okay. But more viewers, I would think. Especially if I was just like sloppily eating food and I was like, oops, I dropped like barbecue sauce on them. Suck it off.
Nice setup, B word.
Oh, thank you. Is this a nice setup? I got like some angry messages when I moved my desk, because I moved it to like the corner of my office. And now I'm hidden over here in this little corner. Because it used to be up on the wall, like up against the wall, and you would see the entire room behind me. I think people like that a lot more. But I watched this little Asian guy that was telling me about feng shui, and he said, don't have your back to the whole room because it makes you uncomfortable. Subconsciously. And it did. It did kind of make me uncomfortable. And so now, when I'm chilling here, I can look over the top of my monitors and keep an eye on what's going on. Sam, thank you for making the most entertaining content I've seen since the Chaotic incident. Killing Room on stream sometime. I'll even give... What's Killing Room? I know that. I just don't like having my back to the door. Okay, that's exactly what I had going on over there. Was my back. I like being able to see out my windows. You know, my back was kind of to them, and so when I had them open, I was always like, "Can people see my shit? Can they see what's on my monitors?" And there was a point where I had my desk like in the middle of my room, like I was a fucking executive, but then there was wires everywhere. It looked crazy. Yeah. Honestly, I'm moving soon. Not soon. For me, soon. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but when the way that my mind works, I work years out. I have plans. I have schemes. And my plan is to be in Colorado in a couple years. Sorry, excuse me. And before I go to Colorado, I have to kick my brother out of my old place because he's renting it right now. Move into there, sell this place. I'm kind of excited to go back to that little 1-car garage that I had for an office. This current office, it has a bathroom in it, but I think it is just too much. And I don't know. There's something wrong with it. I can't. Have you ever had like a room where you just sit there and look at it and go, something's fucking off? I don't know what it is, but it's pissing me off. I can't figure out how to put the furniture in here. I can't figure out like a good work setup. Sometimes limitations, like constraints, breed creativity, you know? And so if you have constraints, you're kind of like, you're forced to figure it out. And in this, I have 2 decently sized rooms and a bathroom and a closet. And I feel like everywhere I put my desk or I have my green screen set up and like my studio lights, it's just wrong. It's just fucking wrong. And I can't quite figure it out. But I know a lot of people don't like this guy, but Casey Neistat, you remember him? That guy had the tiniest little office, and yet he had a little place for everything. There was no room for anything new. It was just perfect the way it was. He just had it all laid out. If you took something out, it was wrong. If you put something in, it was wrong. It was just the perfect layout. Yeah, and some guy I just saw in chat, he was like, "Come to Texas." Dude, you're going to cover your ears really quick if you have a lot of Texan pride. I've been to Texas like 4 times. No, 3 times. I have hated every time I'm in Texas. I do not like that state. If you guys have been to Orlando, you know how like in Orlando, it's like interstate goes like fucking and then there's homeless people everywhere, and then there's just strip mall after strip mall after strip mall, and everything's fucking paved. And if you see a tree, it's sticking up and it's surrounded by concrete in every conceivable direction. That's what Texas is like to me. Every time I've been to Texas, I'm like, this is one giant paved field of concrete, and it's so fucking hot. And I forgot I had ordered a sweet tea, so I have a drink randomly. Hell yes. Oh, Colorado. Okay. I visited different areas. I visited the West, where it starts turning into like the surface of Mars, you know, where it starts getting over there in Utah area. It's cool out there. I visited Fort Collins area. I visited up in like Silverton. I visited Mesa Verde, Estes. I'm going to Colorado Springs later this year. I have not been to a single place of Colorado where I'm like, I don't like it. You know, Colorado rocks. Every single place I've been to rocks there. I'm not going to be Mormon. I'm not going to Utah. But I will go to Colorado. Oh yeah, Colorado Springs is. I think that might be where I move to be honest. I don't know yet. Their schools are supposed to be really good over there. And Columbine already happened, so I'm thinking lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place. That's my thought process. Like, you know what the safest nightclub to go to is? That Pulse nightclub. There's not going to be another one, right? Surely not. That new World Trade Center? That's probably the safest fucking skyscraper in Manhattan. They're not going to hit it a second time. Oh, there's a good murder rate up there? Ooh, fuck. I'm not moving to Michigan, trust me. Have I talked to Abby about this plan? Yeah. She's totally on board. A lot of our family, they're like big MAGA people. And they're like, what, global warming doesn't happen? That's not real. I'm like, dude, you can call it whatever the fuck you want. It was never this hot when I was a kid in the summertime. We have a back porch that during the winter, we have the doors open from the kitchen and we just kind of grab a drink and then meander out to the porch. And we spend all day out on the porch, just frolicking around. It is so fucking hot outside right now. It's just not even, I haven't been outside in days. I go from my house to the car. And in that time, I'm just like, oh, it's hot. It's like when Patrick and SpongeBob go into Sandy's dome and there's no water in there. It's exactly what it feels like going outside. It's way too fucking hot. Were you drinking a Yingling earlier? Oh my God, you have a full Yingling right here. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm beveraged up. I got a sweet tea and a Yingling. Oh yeah. Yingling? How do you say it? Yingling? Ewingling? Isn't it like yoingling? How do you say this? Yingling. Yingling. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yingling. Youngling? You don't say it Youngling. You say it like a Chinese name. Yingling. Wait. God damn it, stop typing so fast. You fuckers. You keep typing fast. I missed it. This guy just said, the guy in Norway was like, it's like 30 degrees or something. Hold on. Let me look that up. And freedom to Europor measurements here. 30 Celsius to Fahrenheit. 86 degrees. North of Norway today. Average normal temperature in the summer is 13 degrees Celsius. 86. In northern Norway? Are you kidding me? That's like 86 in Skyrim, dude. That doesn't make sense. And it's usually, what'd you say, 13 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit? Let's see what that is. 55 degrees Fahrenheit? Oh my God. Oh, that sounds so good. Dude, I have been like not my fight, I guess, but my biggest struggle I have is that I'm blessed with an awesome family. I have my girls, I have my wife, and unfortunately that gives me some restrictions on my freedom. I can't just like get up and go. I have a friend that lives in Norway. It's a good friend of mine, and he's invited me out to his house, and he's shown me where he lives. He lives in northern Norway. Like, his parents live on a fjord. Beautiful house. Looks like he just lives in Skyrim. It just looks like he lives like in the fucking game. And he's like, yeah, just come on out, like whenever. I'll bring you on all sorts of day hikes. And I'm like, oh, do you have to like worry about any animals and shit up there? He's like, nah, dude. There's no animals that'll fuck you up here. No bear, no snakes, no wolves. I don't think. I think the worst you could come across is a moose, which those will fuck you up. They will, but it's a moose. You just go like they're like 8 feet tall. You see it from a mile away. I would love to go out there, but Abby's like, you're not gonna leave us to go to Norway on a vacation without taking us. I'll kill you. And you know what? If she just randomly came up to me one day and said, honey, I'm leaving to go to Norway for an awesome vacation, I would tell her to suck my dick. She's taking me with her. So I get her point, but you know, opportunities like that they don't come out all the time. I'm sure Muscle Bus is probably going to hate me in like a year, 2 years tops. Probably won't have that opportunity again. I'm already on thin ice after he gave me that gift card to buy some game on Steam. It was like VTOL VR or something I spent it on Hunt Showdown. Just sneak off. Yeah, honey. I'm going to go out and get some ciggies. Be right back. She checks Instagram. I'm like, on a mountaintop. Yeah! No, that would not fly. That would not fly. That's when I was in Texas at that like range day or whatever. So it's like a bunch of like these ultra conservative, like traditional dudes, you know, that probably if their wife talks back to them, they probably fucking don't look at me in the eyes. I'll kill you. And those fucking guys, like, I was like, how do you guys just go to all these events? They're like, I just walk out the door. I make the money. I say I fucking go. I go. I'm like, holy shit, dude. You try doing that to Abby, she'll pull your balls off like she's picking an apple from a branch, dude. It would be over if I said that to her. If I was just like, I'm leaving, bye. Yeah, she would twist my balls off so quick. What if you got her something really cool like a mug? Nah, I don't think that would fly. Honestly, I'm like imagine you guys have kids, right? I have 2 girls. One's 7 years old, one's 4 years old. I have a fear of sending them off to like a day camp, like a summer camp. Because when I was a kid, all the summer camps were the counselors and people that ran the fucking camp were all teenagers. I don't trust my daughters with a teenager. I don't even trust a teenager by itself, you know? So I was like, Abby, I really don't want to do any like camps or whatever. The only camps that got recommended to us were Abby's hairdresser is a Christian lady, and she's like, yeah, I got like a camp that I send my kids to. And I'm like, aren't you afraid like your kids are going to get like fucked up just being kind of unsupervised or loosely supervised like all summer? And she's like, oh, it's like a Christian camp. And I'm like, she's like, so it's safe. I'm like, dude, pedophiles love to hear that shit. They love to hear people that naive. Has she not seen fucking Searchlight? Like, Jesus Christ, lady, like the church is full of those fucking bederass. Probably ship her kids off to Epstein's Island every summer and she doesn't even realize it. I'm too paranoid about that stuff, man. And so Abby's been watching the girls all summer long and she's about to mentally break. She's like, I need some space from these kids. And if at the end of summer I just went like, hey, yo, I'm going to Norway. I'll see you later. I would get my ass kicked. I would get fucking destroyed. Way more common in public school per capita. Now it is probably, yeah. It's because the jig's up, dude. I think being a pedophile has not decreased in popularity. I think pedophiles sit there and scheme every night and they go, what job can I have that gives me access to kids where I'm not suspected? And unfortunately, being in the church, you know, in the 70s, that's where you probably want to be. But I think they're on to him now. You know, they're on to him, and the pedophiles know that. They're like, okay, I'm not going to be a priest now. So I think they've gone to schools, public schools, guidance counselors and shit, teachers. You know, I think everybody already like suspects, like if you're a dude working at a daycare. Are you working at a daycare, huh, buddy? Huh? Like already, that's red flags. But once you're in like school, I think you're less suspect. So yeah, probably public schools is probably where they're at. I bet you sports. You know, what was that guy that like molested all those like little football kids or whatever? Sports coaches, therapists. Therapy's probably pretty big. Yeah. I think we should probably just kill all the teachers and therapists and stuff. I think that's just to be safe. Just to be, not politics. Not politics. Politicians have no access to fucking kids. Unless you're referring to Trump, which I fucking called that shit years ago when I said, I don't know, dude. That guy talks really weird about his daughter. He's always like, oh, my daughter's so fucking hot and fuckable. Oh my God. If I wasn't her dad. Yeah, that guy's a fucking creep. But that would be funny if there was like a pedophile politician and you know when like moms pass off their baby to be kissed by the guy, he like makes out with it. That's his opportunity. No, that's bad. That's bad. I shouldn't laugh about that. Oh yeah, Joe Biden sniffing women or sniffing girls. Forgot about that too. Takes the baby, smells it like it's a big fucking hoagie. Oh. Yeah, Biden was like old, I don't know. I've met a lot of old guys just like him. Just kind of like handsy with women. Immediately has the hand on their lower back. Guides them around. It's old school shit. Which I feel like works, by the way, if you're like handsome. Like, have you seen Pedro Pascal? That guy's like fucking basically fingering women's mouths during press conferences. And he's like, it's anxiety or whatever. Yeah, it's because I'm fucking anxious. I'm just anxious. That's why I'm doing this. I've just been sitting here watching a drum and bass mix of what's this game called? SSX Tricky. A guy playing SSX Tricky. You're watching a streamer who's watching somebody else play a game. And I'm just talking about where pedophiles could be hiding in society. They probably work at, let's see, where could pedophiles work? At the children fucking factory? I'm sure they probably pick up a couple shifts there. Where else? That's it. That's all I got. Whoever owned Epstein's Island, I'm sure he was probably one. Anyways, I'm gonna peel out of here. This is the kind of entertainment we all need. Yeah, great public service announcement. Hey guys, where do you think pedos are? So we can start hunting them down. Have you guys seen those like the pedo hunter dudes that try to do the Chris Hansen thing, and then they end up just like beating the shit out of the guy that shows up? Not to be like a pedophile defender, but I feel like most of the people that show up to those are like on the fucking spectrum big time and like need mental help. And so it's just like this retarded guy showing up to get haymakered by like a big buff guy. Which it's still kind of funny, but that does throw like a weird ethical twist to it, you know? It's a 60 IQ autismo that doesn't know what's going on getting beat up at Walmart. Yeah, that's basically it most of the time. It's a guy that's like a couple shades away from being Forrest Gump. And he just doesn't, he knows what's going on, but he really doesn't like quite know what's going on. And I don't know, the jury's still out on if that's okay or not. I would say no. I'd say no, mostly because I don't trust the investigative skills of these stupid streamer guys, mostly. Wow, this guy's really playing the shit out of this SSX Tricky. He's really bombing this mountain, dude. He's playing it up. I kind of feel like getting a snowboarding game now. Do you guys remember 1080 for the N64? That game rocked. That game was good. I actually was more of a 1080 guy than an SSX Tricky guy for some reason. I don't know when they came out in relation to each other, but I feel like my rose-tinted goggles are making me think that 1080 looked better than it does. But I feel like if I looked at a side-by-side between SSX Tricky and 1080, I feel like SSX Tricky is probably the better game. But 1080 was what I had. Yeah. You have a copy of 1080 on your shelf right now? Look at that. There's kings amongst us. That's awesome. All right, guys. I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to it's 9:48. Those kids are still awake, I bet. I don't hear them moving around up there, but I feel like they're probably awake. I'm going to say hi to my wife. I'll see you guys on the flippy. I don't have a credit screen anymore. It broke. Yeah, I can't do anything for you. Oh wait, is this a credit screen?
First, whatever happened to sex? By the way,
that's not it.
There is simply no way I would.
No, I don't have a credits screen. Does the credits thing work? Oh, it is working. I thought it was broken. It's kind of working. Where'd all the people go? There's like people that used to run around. Whatever. Anyways, I guess I should find someone to raid. Who do I want to raid? I mean, I was just playing with Kraken. I feel like it would be rude if I didn't, right? You know what? And then I went to go do it and I realized I don't have the chat pulled up, so I can't even type, and I'm too lazy to do it. So I'm just gonna dump you guys into nothing. This is a raid your own. You guys get to choose who you're gonna raid by clicking on your own browser and finding whoever you want to fucking watch. Go watch